I mean,
Wow.
I think it actually shows us live before you press. I'm not sure how it works. I've never actually done a test. Hey, everybody. You'll start seeing people in the chat being like, hey, everyone's, or complaining that we're late, or complaining that one of us doesn't sound. We're a minute early.
Wait.
Are people saying that we're a minute early?
No, I'm saying we're a minute.
Oh.
It's 7:59 right now.
Oh, God.
I mean, I think we're still live, though.
Yeah, you're live right now.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
legit live. We're legit live.
Are people in the chat?
Oh, he's got
I
it.
just pulled it up.
Okay, yeah, he sees it right there.
How
Okay.
y'all? We're live. What's going on?
Wow. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
You got solid depth of field up in here.
I know. Doesn't this look amazing?
Wow.
That sound
Yeah. This is. If you can't tell, I've hired a camera and lighting person.
I'm so impressed.
Yeah, my change in the live stream game.
Wow.
So Ben, what are the topics of the night?
Yeah, did
Yeah.
you write a list?
I thought about getting Mad Libs at Target and then having everybody have to hold water in their mouth while the other person read their Mad Libs, but that would have destroyed
Yeah, I was gonna
everything.
say, that's the most shame.
And so I was like, that's
Having
probably the worst.
4 drinks here is
Yeah.
giving me a little bit of
I
anxiety.
was literally like, let me just, and I was like, $840.
There's a
Let
little.
me turn this way.
Yeah. So we're at Perfect Circuit, and they're really, what's the word I'm looking for? Generous and nice for letting us do this.
That's
and
interesting.
they let me film here for a video earlier today, and I've kind of just taken over the store, and I appreciate them. They're not even back there.
Yeah.
I could just.
But yeah, they're awesome. They're
Yeah.
in Burbank, Los Angeles, basically.
Yeah, this is a hard store to go to if you want to have money and like synths.
You keep it, yeah.
It's been rough. Like half of that rack nearly came home with me today, and yeah. But it is actually one cool thing is that if I do in the future, this I already have like a mental note of things that I want to cover in the future, just because online, all I have to go by is other people's reviews, which is great to to inform me on a purchase, but obviously if I want to play this stuff.
We went to the worst bar last night.
We did.
That was awful.
We did. I mean, we went to like a really bad bar, but we just sat on some fake grass outside of a UFC gym outside the bar that weirdly was being used by the bar.
They went,
They went, yeah.
not I.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't want to go down there.
I'm glad.
Buena Park, you didn't want to go there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. It was, it was great. I don't like do the bar thing too much, so I guess any bar is just kind of, if I can have a conversation, then I'm pretty happy. If it's too loud to have a conversation, then I'm not happy. I'm less happy. Yeah.
When I first walked in today, I thought this was all synced up.
Oh wow.
And
yeah.
I got like kind of nervous.
And I was like,
so
nah,
what are
dude,
we
we're doing a live set, man. We're doing
with
all
the whole store.
with everything in.
I mean, that would be
Wait.
cool.
I mean, they have room, don't they? You can plug shit in, huh?
Yeah, but I'd say probably after like 12 synths, it's just going to be chaos.
Yeah, I mean, we could. Well, no, there's not enough channels.
Unless you carve it out like the way you do in a lot of your videos, which is super money.
Oh, you mean the last one where I was just
I was just like, damn,
all
this
Ocean's
is
11,
so
like this is how I
fun.
did this. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I'm surprised that people didn't yell at me for that. Like, 'cause that just seemed. I thought that was a little too, my own
No way.
head. And
No way. I
Like the
think
biggest
that's the
patch
best.
ever?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, that generative.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the. I mean, I think that's what separates anyone from anyone is just like doing what you want to do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like now I know if I want a dope, solid opinion and like ways to think out of the box making music, I can just go check out your channel.
Well, thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
if I want really entertaining, awesome synth reviews that are shot way too well, I'll just go to your channel.
Yeah, if I want to feel bad about like my coloring and things like that, then I'll.
I go to Ben's channel to pre-block people in the comment section. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, straight up. I say, which new comments are on this Behringer video? And I just say, okay, let me just pre-block.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that is so.
I'm like. Yeah, I'm like Jupiter to your Earth, just like catching all the asteroids.
Yeah. Hey, take everything. I don't want any smoke.
Yeah.
I did one video and I still get smoke for that one video. And I'm
Wait,
like,
which one?
the Behringer video where I said, "Hey, it's good," I still get smoke for that video.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's
that's-
so annoying. So I'm just like, wow, there's probably
what
too
was your
many
most
people.
controversial video?
Oh man, I would say it was actually. Which one was it? It was
Was
funny.
the one where you abducted children from like the school, where you just like went in and grabbed them and just like
Yeah, that one was
drove
pretty
off,
bad.
drove them over state lines?
That one was
It's on
pretty
his
bad.
second channel.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the one that I think brought it wasn't even controversial like from my end. It was just like tribes got brought together in the comments.
Ooh, yeah.
Was the TR-8S
Uh-oh.
versus Digitact.
What?
Yeah, I was like comparing the two,
Oh,
and the crazy thing at the time was I shot that video before I even owned either.
Oh, really?
So I was just like,
Oh,
on
okay.
paper, this is kind of what I think, you know. But then, yeah, the comments kind of exploded, and I was like, oh, I'm out. Oh, you know what? Actually blew up my first tracker video.
Oh,
Like,
I bet.
They're
That
like,
is
this
very,
is an Aphex Twin. You know, and I
dude.
was like,
People with that.
Really?
I don't
Huh.
do polyend stuff.
Really? I mean,
People are very passionate about it, and I'm fine with that. It's just
Yeah.
I don't want to do it wrong. The same way as I had the Digitact and the Digitone, I
Yeah.
borrowed them, and I was like, I just lightly sent them back on Twitter. Like I was like, well, it was nice to see them because I said if I make the video where I talk actually about how I felt about the Digitact and Digitone,
yeah.
it's just gonna be over for me. So I was like,
tell us.
it's just look, the Tempest. You don't need them if you have the Tempest.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I had the Digitone for a bit, and it was a hot mess, and I returned it. 'Cause
I
it was
like it.
Well, I mean, at the time, the firmware was like screwy, and it kept
Oh.
things didn't work on it, and I was like, well, I'm sending this back.
I randomly really like the Digitone keys. I borrowed that.
I was at your house and you had it, and I was just like, this is the ugliest keyboard ever.
Dude,
like
it's
worse in person.
It's tight.
Is it like on the end of?
Yeah, it's just a
Oh,
keyboard
God,
attached
yeah.
to the side of it.
Why does Elektron do that? Yeah,
I
mean,
guess it's kind of throwback
Budget.
to the mono machine keys.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So my problem with the Digitone was every time I used it, I was trying to use everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, oh, it's a great FM synth. So in my head, I'm like,
Okay.
cool. I'm gonna do like Yamaha DX70 tones and stuff. But then I'm like making kick drums, and next thing you know, I'm making a techno track and using all the voices. And I'm like, wait, what was I working on? You know, but
Yeah.
with the keys, it kind of was like, all right, let me just
Okay, that's fair.
let me just play this like a keyboard
And-
and pretend it's just a single.
And FM does
Same.
that. Like if you're like, well, I mean, I was just playing with a DX1 at Yamaha, and I was just like, dude, I could spend like a month just
Yeah.
making one
Digitone
sound.
is. I love the sound of the Digitone. I always wanted one, and then when I had one, I was like, there's something. I don't know what's
It's not
disconnecting
clicking.
here.
It's not clicking.
It's like something's not clicking, but every time I'm like, dude, this has such a fun, unique sound. Someone's whole sound could come from the Digitone.
yeah,
It's like that.
100%.
It's just so like, it's like a lo-fi. It's like lo-fi is like in its spirit, you know? But like, I'm over here like, you know, I'm like 5 years in on the Tempest, so like we're not gonna start a whole other ecosystem at this point. Like,
I think
Yeah.
it was Basic who does he did Digitone and I think it was the Tempest live set at Moog Fest like in
Really?
2018 or something. It was insane. It was
well, I
really
mean,
good.
he's
And then-
got,
yeah.
he's got the. You know what I want? I want Basic to just drop me his like Sysix of like all of his like Tempest stuff. Because the machine is basically his now. I can't imagine that he has any stock sounds anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, just give me the Sysix. Oh, Sysix library.
I feel like that's what my machine drums like. I was thinking about like, because I don't really use it as much as I want to, and I was thinking about selling it, and I was like, should I just sell it like with my name out? You know, being like, this is my machine drum. This is like all of my sounds that I've put on it over the last, you know.
I mean, isn't
very
that what we
long
do
time.
anyway? Like,
No, I usually do it. I usually do it kind of randomly because a couple times people have like, you know, been weird about, you know, like just
factory
recognizing
reset
it.
or something? They want like,
No, like they've been weird about like they've just like messaged me or they tried to like do a return on the money and then like said I have your address and you know, stuff like that. I'm just like,
didn't you like try to do something to sell something and the guy was like, oh yeah, you put the post up where you were like trying to sell something for a certain price and the guy's like, F you, like, you trying to sell this for like X price, and you're like, okay, fine, you don't have to take it. And then he's like,
Yeah.
no, I want it.
No,
It was, it was the Allen and Heath QU16.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's an amazing mixer. It's an amazing like digital recorder, but I just was never using it. It was collecting dust. And then I occasionally have studio residencies where I just like let people bring gear upstairs because I have like a house that's too big for me. And and like that sounds like a brag, but when you live in Atlanta, it's like that's what, you just sort of end up with like a massive family house. And like,
Tell us more about your massive home.
yeah, it's really great. But they weren't even using it, and so I sold it. And but like it was so funny. This guy was just messaging me, being just like undercutting me, just being like $700, and I was like, dude, this is like easily worth $1,700 like used, and and he just kept like going up. And then finally he offered me like the actual asking price. And I was like, no, I'm not selling it to you. And he was like, why not? And I was like, because you're a jagoff. And then he was just like, oh, I'm going to see you in the street someday, buddy. And it's like, I guess,
The chat wants the mono machine to be re-released.
The mono machine to be re-released?
Done.
Cool. On
Done.
it. Where's my phone?
Yeah. Done.
Have you all messed with the mono machine?
Yes.
Before?
Yeah. I wouldn't advocate for its re-release, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't advocate for the machine drum to be re-released either. I think both of those things. I think both of those things have died a very respectful. They've had a very respectful funeral, and I don't think that they have too much place today. Like,
These opinions are Ben
And you're
Jordan's
getting
own.
death threats.
Yeah, it's like these opinions are that of Ben Jordan's
Yeah.
and his own, and not Perfect Circuit.
No, I mean
The opinions here are expressed of Ben's. No,
Ben Jordan.
I feel like most people that are really like wanting that are thinking about the machine drum and the mono machine a lot that I hear from have never played with one, and that doesn't mean that like, but it's just that the interfaces are not very intuitive. They're like they're not incredibly fun, and the reason I want to sell my machine drum is because I never use it because the interface is not intuitive at all, and it's just anti-workflow. You just
slows you down.
yeah, and everything that you make on it kind of sounds like a machine drum or a mono machine. Like you can't really escape that, almost like the digitone. Like you can't escape that like little world. But the machine drums have been done since the beginning of IDM, so it's like
It's hard. Probably there's all those people who love those instruments, and they just like, it's like the Tempest in me. It's like I would never tell someone to get the Tempest because I'm like,
I know that story.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not gonna say, dude, the Tempest is the greatest. It's the greatest because I sat there and I decided that it was going to be the greatest.
yeah.
But it has all the tools to be the greatest. But on the surface, I would never tell someone to get like the Tempest. There's no way. And especially I saw the prices going for like $2,500 now.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I told someone today I told them in a comment, I would never buy the Tempest for $2,500.
Yeah,
Never.
no way. That's like in the world of MPCs as well. People are like, oh, I'm saving up to get like an MPC 60, and I'm like, don't.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that he used it, and therefore it's gonna be.
Because it's great. It sounds awesome, but the workflow is such a pain, and it's just, I don't know. Once you get the muscle memory down of it, sure, it's fine and it's great, but then at the same time, you're like, I don't want to lead someone down this path because I know you're going to be disappointed.
Does the MPC 60 sound like something?
It does. It's 12-bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like super crunchy.
So it's like an SP 1200 in
It's
a sense,
super crunchy.
right?
Yeah, but less aliasy. It's more like low-end heavy.
Okay.
And there's not so much of the like ringy top unless you really push it.
See, I always was like, it's a sample machine. Like the SP 1200.
It'll sound
Until
like
I
samples,
saw Alex Ball's video on the SP 1200, which I was like, God dang, this guy, he made me understand the SP 1200 in like 13 minutes. Like, how did he do this? Like, and I was so like, wow, like the workflows that people made to work around the limitations at the time were so cool. But I always just was like, oh, it's old drum machine that the Dilla used, and that's why it's good. So
Yeah.
Well, he used the
3000.
Not the 404, but the SP. Yeah, maybe it is the 404. I know that he used one of those old Boss sampling things
Who,
for
Dilla?
donuts. Yeah, he just had a portable turntable in one of those when he was in the hospital with lupus.
Oh damn! I thought
His mom brought him.
Used the 2000 or the 3000 in the hospital with records. And I know it's Madlib uses the 404 and the 303.
Yeah.
Those are such cool machines when I see someone using them. I have no idea
And
what
then
they're
you get
doing.
one, and you're like, why'd I get that?
Really?
But at the same time, I absolutely love those machines. Even like,
Bad Snack's about to go off.
dude, I just got the S2400, the like SP1200 remake by Isla Instruments.
Yeah.
And it has its limitations too, like only 8 audio tracks, like that, or 8 voices, I guess you can say. And you have like backup tracks. And I was like, oh, like in my head, I'm like, dude, it's 2021. Like, why is there a limit?
Sure.
But at the same time, I love that there are limits because that brings on its own sense of creativity when it comes to things.
The Octatrack, that I hate. That
Dude,
I've owned
love
that 3 times and sold that 3 times. Like
I've owned it twice and sold it once.
Yeah, because every time I convinced myself this is good for my live show. This is what I need. And then after like 2 weeks into like the beginning of my rehearsal, I was like, this is never entering my studio again.
It's like an 8-track.
At the time, it was like Elektron's version of Ableton almost. Like,
But in a hardware.
yeah, but in a hardware like tiny little screen, and that's a Make 2, so it's a little easier to use than the original. A lot easier to use than the original, but
Yeah. The way to think of it is kind of like a performative 4-channel mono mixer that can like live loop
yeah.
on the fly.
But with some weird restrictions that.
And crazy like workflow
Oh
to
yeah,
get things
like
going.
100 enters to get to the menu part that you got to
See,
keep going.
that's the thing. I hate to say that, like Elektron stuff turned me off so long ago that I just said, forget about it. Like it was 10 years ago. I'm looking at Elektron stuff and I'm just like, I'm watching like Chank like do a thing and I'm just like, dude, this sounds awesome. But then when I'm watching a tutorial, I'm just like, I don't want to do that though. I don't want to do that. So I'm like,
used to it.
The perimeter locking is
hey,
amazing.
he left.
Yeah.
So clearly.
And parameter locking, I'd say they do it right.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
the
Have you
most.
played with these?
I have the cycles because I like the diggy tone, but I ran into
what
that
I'm
issue I had
talking about.
before.
The samples.
But the cycles is actually really dope because it's like the
I know nothing
constricted,
about them. Yeah.
limited version of a digitone, but for drums.
Yeah.
And then there's like a chord machine
Okay.
on there, so you can be like, cool, do like a 4-note chord, and you can parameter lock what chords are on what step, and like inversions and pitch and
Might wanna
tone and
take
whatnot.
one of those home.
They're cheap too.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
crazy.
It's like $300, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Less than $300.
Prices are
I'll be honest. The
Then
favorite
CB.
thing recently that I played with here was the TR-8S, and I was just like, dude, this is like grandpa's drum machine, but like it is so fun. It's like just so basic
Immediate.
and fun at the same time.
I have the
love it.
TR8 and I still even use that, and it's not even the S. It doesn't even have like the FM stuff on it.
So fast to
Yeah.
getting something that's
Yep.
usable, and you
Yeah.
just, I was like, man, this is so cool.
Just that next to a 303, and you're just,
Looks like a joke.
set for the night. Yeah.
I love the faders on that.
I love the faders. Yeah, I'm just like, dude, everything's right at your fingertips. Like my mom could make a beat with that, and she'd be like, "Whoa, wow,
Yeah.
cool."
Outside of the TR-8S, what's a piece of gear that has like actually kind of surprised you that you thought you might have not liked and you ended up liking or keeping?
It's a really
Oh,
good
of course,
question.
for me, the
Micro Freak.
Micro Freak, man. I
Micro
made a
Freak.
whole video about that.
Yeah,
and
Micro Freak's like beyond expectations.
when they make the Matrix Freak, it would be
Yeah.
the first Arturia like legit synthesizer that I very like seriously consider.
Yeah.
Because it's just so. I'll be honest. It's like unbelievable the price.
Yeah,
of-
for what
what
you're
it
getting
is,
with that. Yeah. Honestly, the Polybrute, that's like, I mean, that was like my first like love letter video I ever made for a piece of gear. But like I actually lost.
Probably the top one, right?
It's the middle one.
Yeah, the middle one. Not that crappy prologue.
Yeah, it's the middle one. I mean, that thing with like the sequencer and the matrix, the patch matrix on it, and like the being able to like record certain things, and then the morph, like that like block of wood on the side of it, that expressive block of wood. That also
The cutting board?
The wood on top, or the wood on top of the keys, is also like an expression, a ribbon controller.
They do a really good job.
And you could map, so
Arturia.
you could make two different two different like polyphonic synth patches, and then the block of wood essentially goes between the two, and then they have the same reverb algorithm from Pigments in there. So it's like, I mean, it's straight up bring you to space. Like it's, and yeah, they sent it to me, and I was like, oh, this will be cool, you know. And then I literally didn't sleep. It was like noon the next day, and I was like, oh man, all right, like this is a winner for me.
I think for the price, like, what is it, $2,000?
Yeah, it's a little over two. Yeah, but I mean, for the, it's one of, and it's I'm a cheap person, and so I thrifty, as you corrected me last night. Yeah, I'm a thrifty man. So usually anything in that price range, I'm automatically kind of like grouchy about. But that one, I'm like the wood, the weight of it, everything. I'm like that's a value. You know, that's a synth that like if you're gonna spend $2,000 on a synth, that's the direction I would point people.
6-voice?
No, more than that.
More? Oh, I thought it was only
I
6.
think 8 might be 12. I want to say 8. Yeah.
Huh.
How many oscillators per voice?
3, looks like.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the specs are pretty crazy.
I mean,
There's like 2 and a sub, I think.
Yeah, I've never run into any.
what's the chat saying? They probably know.
Yeah, what's the chat saying, Michaela?
Someone owns it. They're gonna say.
If I were buying,
You're holding your head like, what are they just like? I don't even want to know what they're saying.
Who are these
with your-
people?
it's just a lot of numbers that I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Oh yeah, you got the chat there too, huh?
I guess. Let's see.
They were asking if you've tried the System 8080. That's
System? System? Is it?
Yeah, it is
Probably
going
very-
over heels.
Oh.
Over heels?
Yeah.
Overheim?
No, that's his name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're looking at
The
that.
System 8088.
That sounds rolling.
Oh, it's 8-voice polyphony.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
they're
what?
thinking of that.
System 8080.
There's a lot of people saying they didn't know that you guys would be in the same place.
Yeah.
We're not. This is.
Yeah, this is just amazing
VR.
Hollywood. Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We set up different perfect circuits that are identical in our
Yes.
different locations.
It's all green
Yeah.
screen.
Polybrute versus the Summit.
I'm gonna
Ricky,
step out of here. I can't.
Yeah. I don't know enough about
Yeah.
the Summit to.
Summit.
I would go. How many voices does Summit have?
8. No, 16. Yeah.
Where's the Summit? Oh, there it is up top, right?
Aki. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
I've actually played with that. Yeah. So here's the thing: Polybrute, because of the matrix and because of the expression on it, it feels. So in my Polybrute review, I think one of the things I really like emphasized the most is that it felt like an instrument. It didn't feel like a synth as much as it felt like when I played the guitar, it feels like an appendage of my body, and it was almost as if it felt like that, like I could actually. And even if I watch that video now, I think to myself like, wow, yeah, these are actually this is good music I made on it, just playing around and just like feeling and also polyphonic aftertouch and all that stuff. And it's so for me it was just like the interface and the UI and that sort of. But I guess power the Summit would probably.
I'd say I've
win.
definitely been going down that rabbit hole of dynamically playing instruments. Because like for a while I would get a synth and I would use it and be like, okay, cool, I don't need to play this thing. I could just sequence it and it'll sound exactly the same.
No.
But then I got the Noir Electro 6, just like, you know, Rhodes pianos and stuff like that. I was just like, oh, this is
Wow.
the same note can sound
They don't have an Electro
a
6
million
here.
different
They
times.
said that there's not enough drinks on set.
Yeah.
There's 4 per
We need
person.
like a bong, like right up here, and like just things that could.
That's the after party.
Well, this will make them feel
Okay.
better. I have a jar of piss here.
Also,
I was gonna say that last night.
Didn't you say you guys were going to help announce some crazy new piece of gear on this stream?
Nope.
What?
No, I think some people have confused my social media posts with me filming things for some new piece of gear. But I have a lot of NDAs that like literally my LA experience is NDAs so far. It's just like, yeah, tomorrow, two NDAs. Can't tell you what I'm doing tomorrow. Can't tell you what we've been filming for. It's amazing though. I feel like anybody who watches my channel enough probably knows that it has something to do with the company that I've worked with a lot in the past, and they,
Behringer? Interesting.
Yes, it's a very. It's the new. It's the new Uli brew.
What's your thought on the Moog matriarch and grandmother?
Oh, they're gonna roast her for that.
It's okay.
The Moog.
Yeah, the Moog matriarch.
Moog. M-E-W-G.
He, I actually, I have a clip of Bob, as if he's like my buddy. Yeah, I have a clip of Bob.
Oh,
my
good
buddy
old Bob.
Me and Bob back in.
When they're asking him, like, what do you say, Moog? And he's like, well, I'm Dutch, so the actual pronounce is Loch. But you could just say Moog, I guess. And I was like, all right, because
Good.
That was my first YouTube video. Was trying to figure out how to say. Well, that wasn't my video. I wasn't like, hi, my name is Ben Jordan, and I'm trying to figure out how to say Moog right. No, it was the Mother 32, but Moog is like. Anyway, what do we think about the matriarch? I've never touched it.
And the grandmother?
I have touched the grandmother. I think the grandmother is. This is gonna be like controversial to some extent.
Everything is.
Yeah, right. If I were a rich dad, I would buy one for my kids to play on, or for somebody who, if I was a wealthy roommate, I would be like, hey guys, check out synths. I think it's a great synth to explore on if you're not super into specs. And it sounds beautiful, but it is a little too pricey to have as like a plaything, I suppose.
Opinion on the organelle.
Oh, that one's fun.
What
The
is
Critter
that? I
and
know-
Guitari.
Pure data.
Critter Guitari, wooden buttons.
Is that here? Do they have one?
They used to. They used to
Probably
be
in one
here.
of the cases.
Maybe. They're pretty much sold out a lot of the times. They're cool. I like instruments like that, where they're like really flexible and open source and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm just like, can I get a bass sound?
I don't know what they did with it, or I don't know like if they expanded on it. But when you could only do pure data, I just think that pure data hardware is not that great because the latency. You have a little bit of latency with it. You always have a sort of like digitally. I don't know. It always sounds like pure data sounds. I'm like an old school pure data person, so it's kind of. But I like it. You can make it do some pretty cool things, but you're always going to be limited to that. But that's the same with the Owl module, which is sort of the same idea with pure data. And then the Nebula.
Is that the like weird effects where you can keep changing the effects engine in it? The Owl module?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
originally a
it's-
pedal, right?
Yeah, and
Okay,
it's pure data. And then the Nebula V1 and V2, they have the V2 over there. That's the same thing. And that could also do like max gen, but max gen isn't really all that. You can't really do anything that crazy with max gen.
The qubit ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Nebula, despite me making like 40 patches for it.
Oh.
Honestly, I think like out of the programmable modules, the best one is Ardcore, if you could find one, because that's just an Arduino. It's like straight up C. Like you can't go wrong if you, and it's not like you don't have to be like a developer. Like C's not, it's like super low level, and if you look at somebody else's code, you could probably figure out how to like modify it. And there's a lot on GitHub and stuff.
So Ben, I heard you mention this about what the hell were we just talking about? Organelle.
Yeah.
And the machine drum and the mono machine, that they sound like basically themselves.
Yeah.
Do you lean more towards a synth that can cover more ground, or do you lean towards synths for their character? Because people are like, oh, I want to buy a Model D because it sounds like a Model D, or are you more of like, oh, I want something that maybe is like hybrid and digital that can cover a lot of ground versus sound exactly like one thing all the time?
So I think like I was a big TB303 guy forever. In my albums, my entire life, there's always been like 303, and I'm from South Chicago, so it's like that's like in my veins, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny because I always was like, I need to just stop using the 303 for every single bass thing, right? I need to stop doing that because it is, not only is it like always weighing my music in a certain direction, but also, it gets boring after 20 some albums, and so yeah, I think I'm more of like, I want to explore new territory. I want something that's a little bit more versatile. Things like the Yamaha Montage are like really amazing. I could like literally play with a little like jazz trio on it that automatically adjusts to what I'm like soloing with and stuff. Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's like without doubt, it's the most powerful synthesizer like in the world right now. You don't think so? Do you have one?
Hold that thought.
Yeah. No,
But
this is
same
good.
question goes for you.
Yeah.
Do you lean more towards the characteristic of a synth, or do you lean more towards I want something that can do everything?
I have the Waldorf Quantum.
Yeah.
The
I
end.
don't know what that means. Flexibility?
I could have. I feel like I could have the Waldorf Quantum, sell all my other synthesizers, and be like, oh, this is fine.
Really?
Only because at the end of the day, I think like, what covers the most ground as like a interface is better than a bunch of little things that are covering one piece of ground. Like, sure, I mean, I love my Prophet 6, but like, if I played I feel like if I played a patch that was close enough to a Prophet 6, I could tell people it's a Prophet 6 and they just say, oh, yeah, no, it was a good job playing the Prophet 6, but I play the Waldorf Quantum. No one knows. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's not, I don't think that the difference between, maybe I'll say with one exception, I swear I can't get the same Moog, very thick low end on almost anything. I don't know what is in there, but it's just...
It's like that bottom 20% of the filter.
Yeah, it's just something there, and I can play every other synth, and I'm just like, no, it's not there, it's not there. Yeah. But almost any other synth, pretty much interchangeable.
Oddly enough, the 303 has that same...
Does it really?
Yeah, and the reason why Roland couldn't continue making them is because they were violating Moog's patent.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm like, what?
Yep, because the filter, it was a 18 decibel filter.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that the 303s get super gnarly in the low end when you just turn the resonance down.
Yeah.
Because like immediately everyone gets a 303, they're like resonance.
Yeah,
all
of
the way
course, they
up,
want that
envelope,
quick.
all the way
Yeah,
up.
you turn the resonance down and you have like a bass guitar or
And
like
it's just
emulator.
deep. It's
Yeah,
heavy.
it's like
I have
5
an
dB
Avalon.
up above everything else. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's so loud. I think that's the one thing I don't like about the Avalon and maybe the 303. I haven't tested the 303, but like when you're doing filtery, squelchy stuff and then you start pulling back the resonance, the bass just gets so loud.
Oh yeah, you have to go through a compressor for sure.
To kind of rein it all in. Because it's just like takes over the bottom end.
Yeah.
And if you're running the whole master through a compressor, everything just gets dumped because it's just like
Yeah, the thing I finally learned about using the sidechain filter on my compressors now, like getting the low end to pass or whatever. I don't know what I was doing for all those years, letting it pump and just being like, I guess that's how the compressor sounds. I guess it sounds like that.
Go on.
Yeah, so like the Quantum, I played with one, I don't remember when, maybe it was at NAMM or something, and I liked it, and it was one of those things where I wanted to review it, but I'm trying really hard to not to like limit the amount of expensive things that I review, just because like that isolates a certain degree of you, not everybody can spend that kind of money on a synth, and so I want to review something like this as well. Yeah, to me, the reason I didn't do it is because I was like, this is such a deep dive. This is gonna be a month.
I'm never gonna.
A month of my life to like give it a fair shake.
I said after the Rev 2 review, like a few years back, I'd never do a deep synthesizer. Like, look, Loop Hop exists.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank God for Loop Hop.
That's his thing.
People send me a synth and I watch Loop Hop.
Yeah, that's literally the thing. Like, if you care, if you want a fun opinion, you can watch my video.
If you want to know something, an angry opinion, you can watch mine.
Yeah. Don't watch my video to learn a damn thing.
You can watch mine.
Yeah. If you want to get in the mood, you watch Ricky's video.
Your videos have a very Mr. Rogers sort of like, which is a weird thing to say, but it has a very like Mr. Rogers sort of like welcome to my space. Check this out. You're my friend, and it's nice. I like it. It makes you feel good to learn from that.
I can fly with that.
I feel like Ricky's videos have a very like back bar kind of a feel, like a nice bulb. You have the big like
the paper lantern.
The paper lantern. I don't know. There's that bar in like Hollywood where it's like all red on the inside or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I always watch a video. I'm like, it's like Ricky shooting at that bar. I'm just gonna like sit. It's a cool. No one knows what the hell I'm talking about, but like, it's just like a cool back bar.
I do like that vibe. I used to play at this place called Mountain Bar in Chinatown.
Yeah, the one upstairs.
General Lee's. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, or like Paper Tiger Bar in Koreatown's kind of similar.
Exactly.
Yeah, I always like that, like kind of dusty
Yeah.
bar vibe.
Ricky is the synth Bob Ross.
Classic.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, hear that all the time. I heard
Nice.
about that new documentary.
What am I? Am I like the synth Bernie Sanders? Just like
She's
just this 2D head screaming at people. Yeah.
Surprise is
I'm the synth LeVar Burton. I already got that, so that's fine. I'm rolling with that one.
rolling with it.
Thank you, Austin.
But you don't have to
$5.
take my word for it.
Oh,
It's only
thank you,
$5.
Austin.
Wow.
Cool. Thanks, Ben, for the $2.50.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, we're gonna split it to it like we're all. It's gonna pay for our montage.
$1.33 over here.
Ricky, they want to know how you're doing on the tracker, because the old firmware was tricky.
Oh, yeah, the tracker's good.
The
It's-
Polyend tracker.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, I'm just going to do this my way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to make crazy, ratchety, triplety, late, effecty, squelchy sounds on it. I'm just going to try and do house music stuff. with
Borrow
it.
one, man. Borrow one for a week.
Dude, be beyond frustrated for a
It's
week.
too flat. I don't know.
It's wild. But once you get used to it, it's really fun.
It is my most like out of anything people tell me other than like I stopped buying Behringer because of you. The other one is I bought a Polyend tracker. I pre-ordered a Polyend tracker and like people love it. It's like, and I love it too. You could bounce a whole track with that. Like you could like bounce a finished like not
You can play video
mastered,
games
but-
on it.
Yeah, you can play video games on it. Like it's
Is it touchscreen?
No.
no. And so the idea is that you kind of get into this like you just get into this like realm where you just
Like
okay,
typing
FX here,
almost.
yeah, okay, we're gonna do this here, and then we're gonna put all right, we're gonna do, you know, you just kind of get in this like quick little editing mode. Like once you get used to it, you could just like pump a track out.
It's wild. My
Like-
favorite thing about it
A lot
that
of
I always
randomization as
tell
well.
everyone is like when I don't feel like making music, but I want to make music, I'll use that thing.
Yeah, because it has an FM radio in it, and so you could just like you could download a voice and then turn it into a granulator in one of these channels,
And then sample vocals from the
and
radio.
and then you just have like a voice that you can like tune and then play things with that.
Makes me feel like a cashier.
Yep.
No, just wait till you use it MPC 60. It's just
Yeah. Right.
with the flip up.
It
Yeah.
just. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, it's incredibly deep.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and
really
it's an intuitive design.
Yeah.
That is the synth Henry Rollins.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Does it have? It has like a speaker in it or no?
No, just headphone out.
Yeah.
Yeah, which actually gets way too loud.
Yeah.
The gain on
It
there
can,
is scary.
They make another thing, don't they? Probably
They
make
make
some
the
other thing.
Medusa,
Medusa.
They make the Seek over there, that huge grid controller,
which is
the
really
MIDI
cool.
CD.
I just
love
wish
that.
it did chords.
Yeah, it does.
Well, you have to like lock the chords in. And
yeah.
then or if you play in multiple notes, it like you say you play in 4 notes, it just takes up 4 channels. and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, okay, cool.
What's the Medusa thing?
The Medusa is a collaboration between Polyend and Dreadbox.
Oh.
And it's like a weird digital 3-voice paraphonic
Yeah.
synth. I
and
could
they
be way wrong.
added, I think it's
Interesting.
4, and they added, it has like, no, you're right, it's 3. It's like, it has like analog and digital
Yeah.
sides.
With a
and
crazy sequencer that
with
runs
a
across 64 steps.
Yeah, with a crazy,
Oh.
and it
MPV.
has crazy perimeter locks.
Yeah.
Like that might be the best I've seen in that world.
I've been curious about that thing for a minute.
I mean, that is one of those synths where you play on it and you will have an idea for a track. Like it will just pump out. And honestly, like I think, I mean, I don't mean to like blow too much smoke up Polyon's ass here, but like I think that like even in my last album, there's like 3 tracks that are like super Medusa heavy, and there's never anything that's like one synth heavy, but like that synth just like, yeah.
Here's a piece of outboard gear.
Oh god.
Good luck. Holy shit.
Valley People Dynamite. Easy.
Yeah. Wait, what?
19 Valley People Dynamite. I love the Valley People Dynamite. I was looking to buy another Valley People Dynamite today because one of my channels went bad.
Oh, he has his lav on.
You turn it off.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, I know. It's just you're hating.
The stream's about to go a whole different direction depending on what he's doing.
Like or if it was just crying or something, that would be like so hard. We'd just be like, oh man, what's
like-
happening? Just
it's-
sobbing in the bathroom.
F that Steven. Always freaking. God, he's always taking up all the freaking room.
They're talking about the Kanye stem player.
Kanye, what?
Stem player.
What? I've never heard of that.
Is this a Donda thing? Is this his new?
They just said like Kanye stem player. What's like your opinion? The one guy in here says that it seems cool, but it's not meant for us synth nerds.
Stem player.
Yeah. Kanye
Yeah.
stem.
I've been traveling, and I'm usually way up to speed on my Kanye news. That sounds sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic. Like I am 100. Like Kanye is in a stadium in my city, and I'm just waiting for him to finish his album that he's mastering in the stadium in my city. So yeah, but I've been traveling, so I haven't been up to date. I don't have the 0-day Kanye news. So what is the stem player?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
You know what the stem player is? The Kanye stem player? Kanye West stem player?
No.
I mean, my friend sent me the bootleg of the album.
Of Donda?
Of Donda, yeah, all
How do you like
20.
it? I've not heard it yet. I'm waiting.
See, I'm weird because my second favorite Kanye album is, maybe my first favorite is Yeezus.
Yeah. Yeezus
I
is incredible.
love Yeezus.
Yeah.
Yeezus, and I was listening to, what the hell? I was listening to Jesus is King. I like Jesus is King.
Yep.
I like Kenny G is on that. I know people like late registration and graduation,
Yeah.
but Yeezus is like a very angry album, and I like the anger in that album. So this album is, I would say it's closer to Jesus is King. There's a lot of features, but it's kind of cool that there's a lot of features on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like some songs, like 2 damn features. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you guys still use Zoya,
Yeah.
or is it the workflow too slow for you?
I use Zoya all the time.
Yeah, it's too slow.
Yeah, I'm
Zoya.
on the too slow camp too.
Zoya for me is like, I need a pedal that is going to have 2 different
Yeah.
delays that are off by 1 millisecond and then create a new pattern as they move around into a tape emulation, and I could patch that up in 45 seconds because I just am way too in bed with Empress. So
With
Yeah.
the Zoya, did you spend a lot of time kind of creating like default starting points?
no, honestly, it's one of those things where I picked it up really easily, and I've made massive like 7-page generative patches with it.
Really?
Yeah, it opened for me. The last time I performed was here in LA, and like right before COVID, and the Zoya opened for me. Yeah. It was just literally a
It
white
is
box.
really like
on
a modular synth in a
Yeah.
tiny little box.
Yeah.
I love Zoya's like it's not the best at any one thing that people would be like, oh, how are the delays? I'd be like, oh, I mean,
Yeah.
it delays things, and well, what about the reverbs? Like, it's got reverbs in there, but it's that everything is so, every parameter is freaking modulatable or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, the Zoya's not the best at anything, but it's the greatest of everything. Like, it
Yeah.
just has.
Yeah.
And I still have to, I admit, every time I use a Zoya, I watch a loop hop video because I forgot how to use a Zoya.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, I forgot.
Yeah,
how to
it's like
use
got to
a
be
Zoya.
in your workflow,
Yeah.
and like it's always. I think I have 2 of them, and then
There's the other one, right? There's the.
the secret
Burrow.
the secret not formally announced one
it's
yet.
not? It's
That
still
the one
not?
the,
I thought
the
it was
one I
announced.
can't show. No, I can't show it on camera. Like I can't.
Really?
You could find videos of it though.
No, not of the new one. It's if there is, then
Burrow?
some people would be pretty angry to find out that there's.
Crazy.
I think there's like some quick footage of it,
At a
like
NAMM
at NAMM
show.
or
That's-
something.
yeah.
But yeah,
I will say they fixed.
I've hit it whenever somebody.
I don't have
like-
one. I wrote him back too late on that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just hit me up too.
What plant inspires you the most?
Plant?
Yeah, it's a
Ooh, you know what's crazy is surprisingly plants do, and I mean, maybe that's not crazy, of course.
Marijuana.
I'd say plants do.
I was like ayahuasca. Yeah.
Any recommendations for starting a Eurorack system?
Just do it.
Any what?
Recommendations
For starting a Eurorack system. That's an intense question. That one's heavy.
There's some of the Synth boxes back there are
And
nice.
this stuff too, the Dreadbox stuff is
that
pretty affordable.
Then if you just want to go with an old Doper style.
Well, this thing.
yeah.
This thing.
Yeah, the Dreadbox modules.
I'm gonna like.
Is it plugged in?
Yeah, it is.
Oh boy.
We can unplug
This
it
thing.
to show it. Yeah, this thing is pretty
They don't make that
inexpensive,
case
isn't it?
though, right?
You know, it's pretty nifty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The nifty case.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse than this.
Yeah, they're
It's
cool.
like 200.
I wouldn't get this. Or I would take this out. These things are always these like touchy things. I'm always like, bah.
I think this thing is like $300 or something.
No, it's more than that.
Is
it
it
has
more?
to be.
I think you're thinking of something else. Because these modules are super cheap.
Yeah,
and
these are
affordable.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, these are Dreadbox modules, and they're like all analog,
Yeah.
super affordable. The voice sounds really good because it's got that like wave shaping
Yeah.
manipulation.
Price of this thing.
But you're thinking of like the semi-modular thing, I think, Steven.
I think. Let me look on.
Yeah, 'cause these are those modules that are like.
Let me just go to perfectcircuit.com, guys.
Yeah. I suppose they'd also answer our question.
Oh yeah. Hey, hey Wes. How much is this thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, there.
we have people asking.
Man of the hour.
How much is this? It's not expensive.
The nifty case is like $299
Yeah.
with the two modules on the end.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
okay.
can start
With
real.
the
Yeah.
Later and a sequencer.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can start real cheap.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's how you should start. No, I'm sorry. VCV Rack. Go on VCV Rack and do stuff. And if you don't love it, don't go there.
And here's a major
Be
tip
sorry.
to save a lot of money. Know what type of synthesizer you
Yeah.
want to make first.
Don't do
before
what
you
I
start
did.
buying every module and realizing that half of them don't even work into the workflow
Yeah.
that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That was my mistake.
And optional paralysis is a real thing. Like my system's too big now, and it's the stupidest thing to complain about. But my system's too big, and therefore I make crappy patches all the time on it. Just
Dude,
'cause
I wanted to
it's way
ask you
too
guys
much.
about that too, because I have the IntelliGel Performance case. It's 7U104, and it like kind of intimidates me to finish putting it together. And I'm
Yeah.
just so used to my 62 palette case, the little one.
Wait, how big is your case that you got?
I have the 7U, and it's 104 HP, so 208 plus the center 1U row.
Okay.
I don't think they have it here.
Yeah, I
But-
feel like 2 rows
size is
on one of those longer racks
Yeah.
would be like
Enough.
the limit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as new things come out, especially in our line of work,
Yeah.
that becomes the priority is to sort of be up on new things. But
The analysis paralysis, that even just putting my case together, I'm like, well, do I want my sequencer here, or do I want it here?
Yeah.
Well, if it's here, then do I put my drum module here, or do I put it up here?
Another thing that like is good to do if you just have time, if you're just like on the phone with somebody for a long time or something, is like take your modular apart and just reroute it without any sort of plan. Just
Yeah.
sort of like just put it back in different areas, and you'll end up like drastically changing your workflow.
Oh man.
Talking about take 5.
Huh?
Take 5.
Take 5?
Yeah. Have you guys
All right, see you guys.
What do you mean?
The
How do
new-
we take 5 on a stream?
No, it's
the new sequential?
that's what you guys talked about.
Oh, okay. I literally took that seriously. I was like, wait, we can't on a stream. I don't have the loading thing. Like sometimes I have
Oh.
a be right back thing, but yeah.
This is
The
kind of
take
an
5,
interesting
I know nothing about
conversation
this.
now.
Yeah.
What?
But
You didn't
go
see
ahead.
my meme?
No.
I spent 3 minutes making that meme.
What meme did you make?
I just took the looking back at
Oh.
walking with, looking back, whatever. Just 3 minutes were wasted, guys. No, the take 5 from Sequential.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about it.
Oh, new.
Five
New
voice, all
5 voice.
analog VCO, small. I think it's 37 key for $14.99.
12.
$12.99.
Yeah, in the same case as the Pro 3.
Yeah, it looks like a Pro 3,
Yeah.
Huh.
but it's 5 voices.
So it's like the Prophet
VCOs.
5 for a third of the price. Oh, same filter as the Prophet
As a Prophet. Yeah.
5 Rev 4 or something. One of them.
I would have to play with one to have an opinion, but was it just announced? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
Oh.
Monday.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I've been in the desert.
I'm too
so-
busy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you're right. He's been actually not sitting behind a computer being a.
Yeah, I miss
Old
that.
cow like me.
Missing the Kanye news.
It's fine. I would say, well, I love the Prophet 6, and it doesn't take the place. I would never say, oh, I would get a Take 5 instead of a Prophet 6, but I would definitely think of a Take 5 instead of a Rev 4 if you're really like,
Trying to save some money.
yeah, like,
'Cause you got the sequencer on there and everything on the Take 5.
just get an OB6. That's the
Dude.
answer. Everyone
Yeah.
just get an OB6.
Do you have
I
one?
want
I
an
do
OB6.
not.
You-
I
what-
had one. I sold it for a good deal. Yo, I had to, you know,
Trade.
I couldn't pass it up. I bought it for super cheap. I found some guy that bought a CS80
Wow.
and was like, I have no money. I need to sell a synthesizer so I can like buy food. So he was selling it for super cheap. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. And then someone offered me 2 other synthesizers for it. And I was like, okay, that would put me up like a grand.
Yeah,
I'm
straighten
down
up.
for that. Yeah.
What
Okay.
what do you feel about the Hydrasynth?
But I miss
I feel like that kind of fell off. I feel like people don't talk about that nearly as much as they used to, and I still like mine. I still think that it's a
It's extremely powerful. It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of the Oberheim expander with the like patch section and
Yeah.
the way things can go.
I do really see value in the keyboard version of it, which
Yeah.
is over there. Yeah,
Why would you choose the keyboard over that?
it has a polyphonic aftertouch, which when mixed with like the crazy LFO on the LFO on the LFO, you know, the crazy things you could do, you could really get crazy with the polyphonic aftertouch.
Yeah.
Like you can make it really.
That has poly on the pads though, right? I mean,
Oh, does it? Yeah,
yeah,
I,
I
don't
think
know.
it does.
Huh.
But at the same time,
Pros and cons of gear lust. Ways to amplify
There's-
the good and stop the bad.
There's no pro. I don't think there's a pro.
it's all relative.
Yeah.
It's just perspective, I'd say. I try to get rid of a lot of stuff, but also I keep too much stuff. Try to like minimize the workflow.
Yeah, I'm starting to get there, and like, but even today, I was like, you know, I've never had an Op One, but
Yeah,
like,
neither have I.
yeah,
Same.
It's like if teenage engineering worked with artists, they would just.
What do you mean they don't?
I can't imagine. Do they? They don't.
They
have
definitely
to.
work. You guys know Heyman, right? She's Heyman. She's like Australian. I think they definitely work with her.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, she does.
They sent me some pocket operators back in the day,
Hmm.
like the rhythm and the arcade, but just for fun. It wasn't for exchange for a video. And then
Oh,
eventually
okay.
I bought, like all my KOs. I think I've bought,
Hmm.
and all my KOs. Yeah, I think I have like 3 now.
I don't own any. And well, I did kind of yell at them on Twitter years ago when they released the modular thing because they didn't have a circuit protection chip, and they have like a little warning on it that says like, make sure you use like a pin positive, otherwise you'll blow the whole board. And it was like, well, the circuit protection chip literally costs. I mean, this is a component that costs like 0.7 cents.
I'm surprised
Like
they
you
didn't.
couldn't like take them back and solder them on, man.
Oh,
That's
scary.
kind of weird. That's
For like a whole modular system that's just like, and not only that, but I thought about that and it's like, how many people are going to accidentally plug in the wrong wall wart into
Yeah, that's-
that and then send it back and then you're going to tell them to fuck off. And then, you know, or teenage engineering is going to be like, nah, you blew it up on your own. You didn't read the warning, and then they're never going to buy another thing from them. It's just like silly. Solder that shit in.
What do y'all think of the UDO Super 6?
The UDO, the Super 6. Don't they have one here?
Yeah,
this,
right there.
This boy. I think it
Yeah.
sounds crazy good. It's still, is it DCO or is it just straight up digital? It's like
It's just digital.
Just straight digital, right? And it's
yeah.
like buy. What is it? Oh, FPGA. Okay, same stuff as peak stuff.
Oh, it has an analog filter.
Yeah. And buy and
I didn't
what
know
is
that.
what is the catch tag? Binaural, something to do with your ears and blowing them out.
I just
Gaz
feel like
Williams
I feel
loves
like
it.
I'm not doing my job.
Binaural.
not knowing the
I'm
answer.
saying that super.
Binaural beats?
Binaural analog hybrid synthesizer with super wave technology. Man, I love marketing.
It's got 12 oscillators that you compare into like
Come here.
6 super ones,
Me?
and then they like spread out.
Oh,
Dude,
Wes.
I couldn't hear you.
yeah.
I just pretend it's God.
Help.
when I played it at NAMM, it was incredible, but I couldn't justify the price of
Yeah.
it.
What is it now? 28?
It's up there.
The
It's,
prices of things have gone up. I
Wait,
saw
the Super 6 is 28?
yeah, it's
100?
something. It's like
something
close to
like
3
that.
grand.
The OB6 went up to it's like 3,100 now, huh, Wes?
Due to the chip shortage.
Yeah,
Chip
all of
shortage.
them went up like 200
AKM
bucks.
fire.
Yeah.
And then just all the ships stopping at the ports and stuff like that.
Well, the WMD, that performance mixer, I was like 100%, I'm taking this thing home. It's like a performance mixer 4 module.
It's
modular.
so cool.
I was super into it, and then it was like $850, and I was like,
Wait,
Eight-
where is it?
some
Where is it?
crazy amount of money.
Yo, I will
It's
say
a big module. It should be on the bottom right somewhere.
the mixer does sound insanely good
Oh,
though, when
whoa.
you're just
Yeah.
running like synthesizers
Yeah,
into it. Like
yeah.
it's a legit. I think it's almost too legit to be a Eurorack.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Module.
Yeah, but I was just like, yeah, I could just use a mixer
Yeah.
instead of this.
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Yeah, as bad as I want that, I just want.
I
the
love
air
that it
for
has like the letters of like the sequencer you can pick a
Oh,
letter.
that's the other thing. That's
Oh, whoops. Not even the thing. Guys, it's great.
Like, I love how it has all these oscillators and filters in it.
oh, it's over there on the bottom right corner.
Oh, did it move? Okay, yeah, it moved. Sorry.
Oh.
I was using it
literally
in here,
just a
but
mixer
they,
with
they
this.
switch things around.
Oh, I have a YouTube channel with synthesizers. I know stuff.
No, I mean, I directed you to a place that led to nothing. So that's where it was when I was using it earlier, when I was patching the beep module into everything.
Favorite tools for sound effect designs, like post-production and games work?
Metasynth is pretty amazing for that. You know, there is a Japanese company that reached out that has some tools that they made for it, and I can't remember the name of them, and they didn't get back to me with the software licenses, or they're in my spam folder. I should probably
Probably
check
in
that
your
out.
spam folder.
Yeah, probably. That's,
Is anyone's spam folder just enormous?
oh, yeah.
I'm surprised after the Behringer video you didn't get spam
It's-
destroyed.
Well, it's full of Donner.
Can we talk about Donner for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about Donner.
What is up with that?
Uh,
Because I get emails from them 3 times a week.
and
don't
so I was
know
like,
what
hey,
this
hey, this is Jimmy from Donner. And you're like, it's not Jimmy, come on.
What would you call them? Oh, like a gray market type of a.
Yeah, like
Knockoff?
like $50 guitars and you know,
Yeah.
just like a Chinese company that.
I always get one from like desks, ergonomic desks.
Oh,
Really? I would
Yeah,
like
and
that. I prefer that.
yeah.
I did some searching. People were like, don't buy this. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll pass on this opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, Donner. I get a lot from them, and I've looked through their stuff a couple times because I've been like, oh, maybe they got something that I could use, or you know, something I could just like make a mention of. But no, it's like, yeah,
It's like they have this supply line somehow, yet the supply line's only turning out like half turds. You
Yeah.
know? It's like, dude, you have some kind of supply chain, like do something. Like you could do anything.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I think it must be made for like music education or something, and then they're just trying to branch out to like pro audio. But yeah, I feel like so many of the emails we get are people just like trying to throw a bunch of things at every wall and see what sticks, and then. But sometimes that works out. Like it worked out for me with Black Magic. Like everything got shut down, and they're like, well, YouTubers.
ooh, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that the Ursa 12K is down to $6,000 brand new now?
It's too expensive.
Ricky, come on now. I don't want to hear from you, Black Magic camera hater.
I'm a Canon girl.
But isn't that a Sony?
Yeah. Guess why?
Oh.
Guess why it's a Sony? Yeah, because Canon was like, we're not working with the webcam software that we made for it. Yeah. And so Sony was like, all right, I got this.
I'll stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks great though. It looks amazing. You still did a great job even with the camera that you don't like.
It's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
It's the
Sony would have probably sent you
It's not how
a
it works.
$20,000 camera had you said that it was good,
Color
but
not.
Wow, Sony, amazing. Love it.
yeah.
I'm so for
You wouldn't trade your C50 for a 12K?
C70.
C70 for
Well,
12.
I really use this 12K. It's,
But you could punch in 8 times.
yeah.
Never.
You know how much closer they could be to me right now? Like, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like I have a little laptop that like catches on fire.
It will, yeah. I couldn't even own the 12K camera because my computer, I tried the 6K.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys like from Hosta was like over filming and he's like, oh, check out this footage from the 6K. I'm like, yeah, let me see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, is something wrong with my computer? I was like, no, it's just
I have
6K,
3
dude.
GPUs and
4 frames
even
a second.
yeah, I have 3
I
GPUs
can't
and
play it
even with
back.
me like playing back the 6K is rough sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just like
Because we shot on in Costa Rica, I shot on the red Komodo in 6K, and it's like useless unless
Yeah.
you have like a big.
Giant system.
4K is the top. The Pro 4.6K is like butter. But past that, and it's just like,
Yeah.
most of my videos I shoot in 1080 and like this one is obviously in 4K or the one
Yeah.
that I'm shooting this week is in
I often
4K.
wonder why I care so much.
Yeah.
oh, what are
That's
you
the
using
difference.
right now for the,
Stream
yeah?
A7R2, Sony A7R2.
With-
It's just mine with OBS.
Wait, how are you able to,
They have a web with what?
I was just saying, I love Sony if they want to send.
Yeah.
So,
it'll send you an A5100.
synthesizers.
yeah, right, yeah. So.
I actually had this question that I wanted to ask both of you before, which is, what is something that synth manufacturers focus on too much that you could do without? Like, oh, we have metal knobs, and you're like, or like it
Analog.
comes with real simulated wood sides.
Analog.
Analog.
Stop focusing on analog.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, analog. I think it has like
I can
it,
type.
it could be maybe 10%. It should be.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a time and place for it, and most of the time, a lot of the analog synths or a lot of the digital synths that I have sound. You know, you would never know the difference
Yeah.
between
and are honestly more fun to use sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what it was weird. If someone were to say, what's the most disappointing part about the Take 5, I'd be like, analog.
yeah.
Like, if they don't, look, there's nothing that's $1,300 that's like 5-voice analog right now, right?
Well,
no,
even-
the Prologue,
Even the
but that's a different thing.
Even like the Cobalt was like, I mean, that's digital, but the Cobalt was like incredibly analog sounding. Like
some people were.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Modal?
it's a and it's I mean it's a unique thing and it's not for everybody, but I felt like this feels like some sort of like edgy analog synth.
Like,
Like it
why?
sounds like
that's what, to me, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like,
I-
you went with this, it's basically the same form and everything, the same function of the Argon, right?
Yeah.
But then you just said, let's make a digital thing that could do anything sound like analog.
yeah.
Why? Like,
Limitations, man. We spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
good.
I had fun with it. I give it a thumbs up.
it's
I
good.
did the Centrix. That's a weird. That's an odd. Like that's
That
very
thing.
analog.
Yeah, the Erica synth thing.
Is
Yeah.
that, it is an analog thing, right?
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
is this a drone? Or
Noise and
Weird thing.
it has a speaker, right?
It's 10% off because I punched it.
Oh, is this the 10% off? Oh no, just this one.
Yeah, that Centrix is 10% off because
I'd say they strike a
I
good
did a
balance
video on it and punched it.
of fun digital features with analog sound. Because I think as
Yeah.
long as the synth has like an analog filter, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's why I
Hydrasynth is
got the
another-
Quantum instead of the Iridium, because
Yeah.
the Iridium is the right price, but I was just such a like sucker for the analog filters of the Quantum that like I had to get the Quantum because I'm
Yeah.
Is the Quantum trying to get into that like Waldorf wave territory? Or is it just like a really powerful synthesizer?
It's like a weird synthesizer because are we turning up the lights? So we gotta thank you for exposing for LeVar Burton now. Appreciate it. The Quantum's weird because it's still buggy as all hell. I'll be honest. Like
That's brutal to buy a
it's-
synth that's that expensive
Yeah.
and have it like
Yeah.
it's not even, oh, that's not obvious. It's like scrolling through what the hell is happening kind of a thing. Like you could use it right now and be like, what is this? Also, you know how things, user interfaces should be very intuitive, right? There's one button that does one thing and therefore you always have muscle memory to go back to it.
Yeah.
Every time you do something on the Quantum, there's 3 places that you can do the same thing. So your brain always starts to be like, where do I want to do this before I do it? Now, it sounds amazing, granular FM, virtual analog. I mean, it has like everything in there, but then it's just like, it needs refinement. I would say it still needs refinement, but going to refine it is like, well, how do you refine something that you've already like upgraded once since they're on version 2.0? Now what do you do to like fix all the stuff you added?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
so like I guess like circling back, how do you, because you poo-pooed the Montage, like what being the when I said it was the most powerful synth in the world.
That's a thing. If the I think the user interface on the Montage is refined. When I used the Montage at like Guitar Center, I was just like, oh, this is fun. Like this is like a workstation. It felt like a workstation.
My biggest qualm with the Montage is the user interface with most Yamaha things.
But is it buggy though?
No.
'Cause, yeah, it feels refined. You use that thing, and you're gonna have some weird screen glitch. You're gonna be like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Constantly.
So yeah, the Montage, like the reason I say that is because like the Montage, I mean, you have this like 8 operator FM, so you could have up to 8 operator FM patches. So you like that can actually feed in and out, and so that's 64 operators if you wanted to. And there's actually deep learning on it, or machine learning on it, that you could like assign. You basically touch different areas of like a colory thing that it draws, and then you could find the sound you like and be like, oh, that sounds kind of chimey, I like that, and then you could have it learn from your preference and then offer you new preferences based on the ones that you pressed, and it dials in all of those FM operators to fit what you want. Now, that's one engine. Now on the other end of that, you have like the sample engine, which is like their proprietary, world-class thing, and so you have like the best piano sound you'll have.
I just love that it's like a workstation, yet it's also a very
right, but it's not a workstation at all. That's the thing. It's not. Yeah, you can't like program a song on it, but what you can do is you could perform a song on it, and it's so intuitive with doing it is that you could just like play with a jazz trio, and it just automatically picks up what you're playing, and one hand could, the chord you play here will then dictate the walking bass line and everything else, and that has nothing to do with the crazy FM pad that you made a minute ago, but you can put it in there if you want. And so it's, again, optional paralysis, like it's definitely that,
sandbox,
but with like the touch screen and everything else, like I can't think of anything more powerful, including like the Korg Chronos and all that other stuff. Like it's, because those are just workstations, whereas the Montage is like, no, we're actually going to take this into the future a little bit. And most people are angry about that because it's not a workstation. They're like, no, I want a piano roll in there and I want to make
I need
track.
the D-beam. I need the D-beam.
Yeah. I've been looking for the cheapest option to get a D-beam. It's like on one of the random controllers.
But why don't they have a standalone D-beam? Like, what's up with that?
I think you might be able to find the really, really old one before it was bought out by Roland. It was like a standalone.
Oh, it was a
little
standalone
box.
thing.
Yeah, by some company, and then they bought the tag.
Because I'm like, D-beam with a MIDI out.
And that's it.
And that's
USB
it. And
powered.
For those of you
for
those of you younger than 90, the D-beam is like a
infrared, right?
Yeah, it's like an infrared. It's like like the JX305 had one where you could just like connect it to the filter, and it's just like, and like you do this. But the problem is like while you're making a track, you're like, it's
who didn't do that?
Yeah,
like you don't want to be squeal.
Like, yo, what up? Like it's just like this. Yeah. It was
and if you're on stage and nobody knows what you're doing, you're just going like this.
Well, I always disabled it because like my career started with the JX305, and I always disabled it because I'd always be like recording, and then my arm would like go over the D-beam,
reach
and I'd
for
be like,
something.
oh damn, yeah.
I don't know why I never found a use for it, but it was like the D-beam as a keyboardist was always to me like, you fucked up, because the D-beam, it's like you can go up and down, or you can go over to like trigger something. But I always thought like, well, if, as a keyboardist, I'm using both hands on the keys, and if I'm not, I'm using my left hand to either mod or pitch.
Yeah.
But now you also have the D-beam, because I had a Roland Phantom X7. I'm like, so you're taking, what is this for? Like, I'm trying to perform, yet I'm reaching for something. It's only useful so little
Oh, yeah.
Yet they would dedicate so much room to the dB.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, somebody who doesn't own a synth, they're gonna be like, "Do I want this one, or the one with the crazy wireless, the crazy air?"
That's a Guitar
thing."
Center selling
Probably,
thing. We're like,
to be
look.
honest.
Yeah, like Amazon didn't sell synths back then. But there was also the Alesis Air FX, which was an effects processor that was like this orb. Do you remember that? Okay, so I have one. I have one at home. I never use it, obviously, but it's this orb that like it had different sides, and so like one side could be like reverb, and one side could be a filter, and I toured with this
A
thing
crystal ball?
in
Like a wizard effect?
kind of like half of a like more of like a crystal tit, just like half of it, and like you could just like hover your hand, do the hover hand.
What is Air FX?
Air FX, yeah, Alesis Air FX.
Look at this thing.
But I would tour with this thing because it was like one of the few effects processors that you could use in like real time on stage, because everything else at the time was like rack unit. This is like back in like the 40s when I toured. So this is back in like the early 2000s. But like every airport security person was like, "What the fuck is that thing?" And I'd be like, "It's an effects processor for like techno," and they'd be like, "Okay, never mind, go." Yeah, but like
I so
everyone-
remember this now.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, what a trip.
Yeah.
It looks like a CDJ.
Dude, CDJs. I remember CDJs.
Man, I remember I had a set of CDJ 1000s, and then I got a new laptop without the CD drive on it, and I was like, well, these are now obsolete.
Right?
Immediately, I was like, well, I can never...
Dude,
Great, yeah.
CDJs. And then, Ableton
Yeah.
Live was like around the time, and I remember being like,
I mean, you had
what am-
Serato and Tractor, and
I have a show.
Itch was one of them, I think.
Good old CDJs.
Scratch.
A lot of those on Amazon, or no, a lot of those on Craigslist right now.
I have a show in
eBay.
like a month and a week, October 1st, and I have no idea. I have not performed in so long, and I never use a laptop, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. And there's probably not good promotion.
Ableton Live.
I'll figure it out, guys.
No, that's a great promotion.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
It's going to crash and burn. I got
Yeah, if you hate me, you got to buy those $200 tickets to Infrasound and get your tent and get up to Minnesota and watch me destroy my career on stage.
Wait,
I'm like
see
the
there.
Mayweather of electronic music now.
What would you use to perform if you were just going to say, oh, this is what I'm going to use to perform? What would you use now?
So I'm thinking about the Akai Force again, because that thing was a doorstop for the first year I had it, and then they kept updating the firmware. And now
Where is that? Is that here?
Yeah, I saw one
I
around
think it's
here
in one
somewhere.
of the cases.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Akai's push after they helped Ableton make the push,
Yeah, yeah.
and then Ableton kicked
Oh,
them
it's
out.
right over here. Right down there on the bottom right of the first, next
To
one
your left.
over.
Oh, this thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that. I always have a guitar. I always have a whole looping setup, MIDI guitar. I have like the Roland GK. And half of my set is usually improvised. Just like I make the music live and then, it's never to be heard again. And yeah, so it's gonna be weird to do that. And it's at a festival too, so like, I feel like if I wanted to play a good set at a festival, I would play a CDJ set of my own
Yeah.
music, because that's just how that works, but I can't do that. So
Yeah.
I was raised in like a jazz, I was a jazz musician when I was younger, so I can't like I have to challenge myself some way, otherwise I'll just, but I don't know.
In a live set like that where you're going to improvise a good portion of it, feel free to not answer this either, but
Sure, no.
do you set up any fail safes? Like to be like, okay, I want to make sure that I have this kind of master clock, or I'm going to make sure this runs through a quantizer, or like,
Sometimes the looper
do you know,
will,
do you have any
the-
fail safes, and what are they?
like a lot of times it would be like a drum machine, and that clock would be limiting, like, I'm trying to think of even the name, that big Roland, the big Boss 600-hour loop pedal. I used that for ages.
yeah,
I can't remember the name. RC something.
RC
yeah.
Typo?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. And I had, at one point, I had two of those, and they would both be clocked to the drum machine. But that actually created some issues too, because the clock input is messed up on those. But I'm not going to get into that because I'm not going to use them ever again. But anyway, but like the Force should be able to like handle that now. So the timing, yeah, like I wouldn't just like raw. I wouldn't just like do it without any sort of like quantizing to a certain clock point. Usually, I suppose usually I do it like within a eighth of a step or a quarter of a step or something.
Okay.
Just because otherwise it's like literally impossible for my foot to like hit it at the right time. But other than that, no. And I think the reason for this is because when I used to tour day after day after day, I would get incredibly bored if my set wasn't challenging. And and I also don't look at the audience. Like I don't have that like stage fright unless I'm playing with other musicians where if I fuck up they look bad.
Yeah.
Like when the worst shows of mine, like I played with an orchestra a few times, and like the biggest orchestra show that I played where it was like a flashbulb show but with like an orchestra, like I had like diarrhea for like 2 days before that because I was so nervous because I was like, if I play a wrong chord, they're all gonna look terrible, and so I'm just gonna sit on the toilet and worry about it. But yeah, TMI. So yeah, you asked, man.
It's a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Emptying bowels.
Yeah, right. That's my fail-safe.
2 days prior
Yeah,
to every show,
Cut weight.
and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be beyond
Yeah,
sharp.
yeah. But if it's me by myself, I just pretend I'm like in my own like space and just pretend I'm in my studio and do my thing. And yeah, if I mess up, most people don't even notice.
Do you keep like a mental note of like, all right, I've been playing this loop for like 45 minutes?
Yeah, I get bored real fast.
Yeah. So you're just constantly changing it up?
Yep.
I guess that's kind of a benefit too of improvising, because then you can kind of take it at your own speed and keep it going.
Yeah, and I get bored pretty quick.
Yeah.
Machine drums here. He has entered the chat.
No way,
Oh,
Travis. How are you?
man.
At first I thought you meant he was outside. I was like, no, come on in, Travis. We don't have a lot for you though. Sorry.
Also, for the people that just joined, they want to know where you guys are.
Oh, we're in Perfect Circuit in Burbank, California.
Sunny California, basically Los Angeles,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, we're right next to Hollywood.
They call it Bourbon Bank.
Yeah.
They don't.
Does
Yeah, they
Ben
don't.
use any Elektron stuff live?
No.
Uh-oh.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it sounds like a bitchy answer. I didn't mean it that way.
That's
It's
interesting that they specifically asked that. Is like Elektron stuff known for live sets, like the
Yeah.
Octorack?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I would see, like the Octatrack, that's its purpose, right? I could see myself using an analog rhythm live, possibly. Like, because I do use, like, I literally use one of those, like, older, crappy Akai drum machines, just like the basic, like, I need a drum machine pronto. There's one, like one of those older, like, cheap ones. I've
Rhythm
used that
Wolf?
before. No. The digital ones, but
Oh.
like literally like one of the ones you get at Guitar Center.
Okay.
But just because the drum sounds are decent and
Yeah.
and for improvising, for just like for
Samba
having a
too.
click track and just just
I
like
know.
programming them in real time, like that's yeah.
I guess that would be good for like the rhythm. Even these, like if you just get some decent samples on there, or even circuit.
Yeah.
Of course. But the rhythm, there's this artist in Portland named Patricia Wolf, and for a while her whole live set, I don't know how long she would play, probably like 30 minutes to an hour. Her whole live set was just on the analog rhythm.
Yeah,
platform.
that thing is super powerful.
Really?
Yeah, it was like her.
How many-
Tempest to you? It's 8 voices,
the
but you can
Tempest-
put your own samples on there.
The Tempest can, I don't even know what I was blown away by, but like at some point I just watched some videos and Basic was just using the Tempest. I was just like, okay, it can do that. I'm the one who's making the mistake saying it can't do that.
I love how Basek is like a celebrity now in the synth world. Like
I met
I've
him
played with
here
him
for the
so
first time.
many times, like way back in the day. Like he was always part of like any West Coast show that I was playing. It was like me and Basek and like Machine Drum and Richard Devine, and that was like the crew that would always be like flown out to like perform some Cali show.
I met him here.
At
Years
Perfect
ago.
Circuit.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, he's a wonderful guy. I love him to death, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen him in
I-
ages. I kind of wish I reached
Me
out.
either. He lives here, right? I mean,
yeah,
he must.
yeah.
I mean, we're Facebook friends.
It's official.
He's
Yeah.
probably hoping for things to start going back to, open.
Sure, yeah.
'cause, he'd
Shows
like to
and stuff.
perform.
He's a party animal.
Ben, do you play the drums on your records, or is it all sequenced?
Both. Yeah. No, I play the drums. I do need a new E drum set or V drum set, but if anybody from Boss or Roland is watching, hook me up. I don't know what to pick out. I've been trying them out for a while.
Do you have? I don't know your new setup now that you've moved back. Have either of you downsized your setup within the last year? And I just want. Okay, so Ricky first.
I wish.
What have you taken out in the last? Just say the last year. What have you taken out?
I have taken out. I took out the Avalon. I took
Okay.
out one of the older MPCs now, and I just have the Live now. But even before that,
Oh,
I went
really?
back. Yeah, I went
You
back.
only have the Live now.
I went to Push for a hot minute, and it was really
What
fun.
about the 3000?
I still have them.
Oh,
I just
okay,
don't,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
I still have I've sold a few. I have the 3K, the 4K, the 60, and a 2K,
Okay.
and then the Live.
Okay.
So I got rid of the 2500, and I got rid of the 1000. The two that I honestly suggest the most, because I'm like, these will do everything you want and have a decent sound and are old school enough to satisfy your cool ego factor, but are new enough that they're not annoying to use. But honestly, the new Lives are really good. I think I took out a bunch of synths, but we were kind of talking about this earlier, where it's the pros and cons of gearless, where it's I realized that I don't need a lot to make
Yeah.
Oh,
music
hell no.
at all. You can get away with so much with just a sampler and one synth that's digital that does a bunch of shit.
My problem is just acoustic instruments, not
Yeah.
necessarily acoustic guitars, but when you think about it, I have a guitar room, and people are just why do you need this many guitars? And it's there's not two of the same here. One's a classical guitar, one's a hollow body jazz, one's a Strat, one's and so at the end one's a fretless bass, one's it adds up real fast, and you can't move houses very easily with all that crap.
Yeah, I notice sometimes when people have setups, they'll have so many, their setup at home will look like this table, and I'm always kind of but I see so much overlap that it makes my brain be
redundancy.
Why? I could get along with.
I understand it, but I also understand your point of view too, because I'm exactly the same. I love my dedicated machines. This is going to handle this is going to handle that, and that's going to handle the second version of this,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's I don't need to,
Yeah.
Or it's also I'll minimize my setup. I'm oh, this is great. And then I'll watch your video of that crazy generative patch in this huge, amazing studio. And I'm I need that. So then I'll go and make that, and then I'll be there, and I'll be I miss that old small setup.
Yeah, right.
And then, you always want what you don't have.
Did
So-
you?
Is there a synth that gave you buyer's remorse?
Yes.
Oh, man.
JX3P, Alesis Ion, Moog Minotaur, Moog Slim Fatty. I mean, it's just they were overlap synths. I hated the Minotaur because I'm what is this? Just bass?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Don't need that.
I have a modular video where I literally rate everything by what percentage
love
I
that
use it,
video.
and when making that video, I was halfway through making it, I was I don't like anything. It's just
I don't even nothing a perfect score.
However, that being said, I do want to point out that Tip Top came forward about Blanc. IntelliGel came forward about Blanc and stuff, and they're like, dude, we'll send you a new one that's you should have reached out. And I was yeah, I'm a lazy pile of garbage.
What was wrong with Blanc?
It just always froze up, and they were sometimes it's this in the back that overheats, and I don't remember what I did, but I made one little solder joint in the back, and now it works flawlessly, and now I'm using it.
Andrew Huang was he made Blanc famous. I remember.
Well, he
back
probably
in the
also
day.
made $10 grand.
Well, I mean, he makes everything famous, mind you.
He probably
Sometimes I
made
wonder,
a good chunk of money.
I'm why don't companies just give Andrew everything? Because
they do.
We try to.
Yeah.
What is one synth that you would save in a house fire?
Prophet 6.
My dog.
Okay. It's not a synth.
I mean, she has an oscillating bark in a house fire.
Might be the MPC 4000. I've literally
I can
like
see that.
thought it through, and like
This is the exit plan.
yeah, literally, I've thought about this before because I'm like, cool, the world's collapsing. I got 20 seconds to grab my gear. What do I do?
Ah, damn.
How would I do it?
I said the Prophet
You know.
6. I should have probably would have said the Tempest.
I got like one
Damn it.
hard drive. Like it would be like one hard drive that has like probably like if I needed to release a new album every year for the rest of my life, I could probably get past it with that hard drive of unreleased stuff. So I would just be like after that hard drive, like,
Yeah,
and then
that's
I could buy more synths with the royalties. Yeah.
That's very pragmatic of you.
Does anyone have a wave state?
I
No.
was kind of curious, but yeah. I
Wave
haven't.
State, which is that?
Korg, another Korg.
Oh, is that the new?
They kind of
is
been
that the
going
new
in
one?
on that like weird price point of like just under $1,000. Yeah, they have the like OP6, I think, and then the Wave State.
The
and
OP6 I like. The
They
Wave.
have the Prologue
What's the
up
other
there.
one?
yeah, Prologue.
Yeah,
Waves. There's another one, right?
it's
Wave.
kind of it's interesting like when a company doesn't reach out, which is Korg for me. Like I don't have any relationship with them. Like they fall off the map in my head. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
Which is sad because it shouldn't be like you know my job as a YouTuber for pro audio should be a little.
I think
bit
it's hard to keep up though
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
And then like honestly, it's like you have a hobby and then you have your job, but if your hobby becomes your job, you no longer have a hobby.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like you're so focused on making gear videos, the last thing you want to do at the end of the day is go watch more gear
Right.
videos.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what's weird? I watch so. This is gonna sound bad because like as if I don't support my friends, but it's like I think that I probably watch so few like synth related like channels.
Yeah.
It's
That's fine.
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, damn, why do people watch like I don't know, it's just weird. Like
Makes sense.
I watch camera channels.
I mean, I watch like boxing and MMA analysis videos. Like I watch like
There you go.
yeah.
I watch Dr. Disrespect. That's probably where like
Dude,
90% of my
hilarious.
I watch 90% of my YouTube watch time is Dr. Disrespect live stream.
That's so
Straight
funny.
up.
Do you guys like the new stuff like Essence FM?
Essence? Essence FM.
My turn to walk over and look at something.
Does anyone ever feel like everyone is more in the loop than they are? Like I sit at home and I'm like the person people like watch, yet I'm seriously people say things I'm like, what is that? That's how I feel
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh.
Essence FM?
Yeah.
Those Sonicware synths. I was thinking
Those
about
are
those.
awesome.
Are they? Yeah. So I talked to them at NAMM in 2020 and they never like reached out. I never like actually.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Oh.
never
I
They
played with
hollered
one.
at me once too.
I
and
know what to
responded,
do.
And it was like crickets on there.
Yeah.
I think so.
I
Could be wrong.
know what to do.
Yeah. Maybe I'll borrow one.
They have a new thing. Whatever. I'm not
But yeah,
talking about it.
staying in the loop of things is kind of tough. I feel like I learn a lot from the people who watch. And
I just
kinda
watch
kick
Bo
it.
Beats.
Bo Beats.
Well, you know
He
what?
does the most. Well, no. See, you could watch loop hop, but then when I watch loop hop, I feel like it's time to learn, and sometimes I don't want to learn.
Yeah. Oddly enough, controversially enough, one of the synths that I hated when I bought it was the original Novation circuit, like
boy.
before they updated all the firmware and everything.
Yeah, that was
And then they went miles ahead with it, and I never touched one again.
Yeah.
And so I've been meaning to like
No,
play
not
with
that
one.
one. Where's the circuit?
Hodge,
What is the
boy.
circuit?
Right
There's
there.
the tracks and there's
Tracks
the
and then
drums.
rhythm.
Rhythm, yeah.
What makes a bad Synfluencer video? Synfluencer.
That's a cool name.
My ones. Just watch any video from pre-2018. That's how to do it. You make it about yourself and not about the thing you're talking about.
People who like go like make videos on like other videos that they saw somebody covering at NAMM, or like they'll like
That exists?
yeah like I mean there's some real low effort videos out there.
Wow.
Or people who have one synth and they just like they'll buy one expensive synth and then every video is about that one synth and how much every other synth sucks. I've seen some channels that do that.
What?
Yeah. Like,
Oh, I know what makes a bad one is if your video is vertically shot.
ooh, that's crazy.
Ooh,
I can't even imagine
using
that.
your phone to film something
While you use it?
while you're using it
Oh, yeah.
and then talking about it. Don't
Dude.
do that.
Just spend like $20 on Amazon and get a little tripod.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh my.
When I was trying
How's that acceptable?
when I was learning the MPC 4000, a lot of the videos were like that. They'd be like, "All right, cool." So
Oh, hell,
they would
making-
their hand would slowly drift away,
I'm sick.
and they'd be like, "You're gonna push this and that," and I'm like, "Move it back, please."
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh
can't
my
see what
God.
you're
It's just the corner
And then
now
he'll
of
be
the
like,
thing. It's not even
"Oh,
like-
my bad." So now that you're here, you're gonna do. I'm like, "Where are you?" I'm completely lost.
It's interesting, like, and then it's interesting to go back. Like, I was thinking about this recently. Like, I think the first synth YouTuber that I ever like noticed was Cuckoo.
He's an OG, very OG.
Yeah.
Like, just his face in the mirror. Like, he would just,
That was weird before I met him.
yeah.
And then now I'm like, now I have a very like loving relationship with Cuckoo, but before,
He wasn't very nice to me. I met him and I'm not saying anything mean about him. He just wasn't very nice. He wasn't very nice. And somebody who was with me was like, he's not very nice to you. And I was like, I think he's just busy. Like, I actually gave him an excuse. I was like, no, he's busy. He's like trying to look at somebody. He wasn't all that nice. He like, I had this camera, this like handlebars for my camera. And he was like, oh, you use that? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, and he like motioned it and then like walked away. And I was like, all right.
Who's your favorite synthfluencer?
Ah, man. I mean, I like the most utilitarian one would be Loop Pop, simply because literally somebody will send me gear or I'll want to cover gear and I'll watch his first. I'll watch his video first because he is the video manual for it. And he covers
yeah, it's the
every
manual.
single
That's how I
thing.
think of it. He's the manual.
And I mean, he puts in a tremendous amount of work to do it, and he does a great job. And I almost feel bad, and I've talked to him about this too. Like, I almost feel bad because then I'm like, all right, I'll add some flavor and pick and choose the things I like because you did all the hard work, you know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's all just like for the love of it too.
Yeah.
If I ever make a video on the Zoya, which may or may not happen, just know that I just stealing the things that he said and then repurposing them, because there's no reason for me to talk about. There's no reason to talk about objective things as long as Loop Hop is making videos in a weird way. It's just
Right.
like it all becomes personality after that.
That's
Do you
why I like
the
it.
fuck
Like
said?
I like making videos better knowing that Loop Hop made one first.
I 100%
And,
agree,
like,
because now you don't have to
and
do
if
that
he has like
bullshit.
an exclusive on a product, I'm like, that's fucking great, because that way like he'll make a video 2 weeks before I even get the thing, and yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any shows or expos you guys are excited for?
I don't even know which are happening.
Yeah.
I'm not
thinking
going to
it happened.
NomCon this year. I was going to, but I think with like with the old Delta variant, and then also nobody from Europe being allowed in the country, it's kind of
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be worth it.
Real quick on the synthfluencer, I got to give a shout out to Music Track JP.
Hell yes.
Yeah, that's
Music
one of my
Track JP's.
favorites. He got me to buy the expander, basically.
You know Music Track JP.
No.
No? You gotta check it out.
What's his name? He's the Japanese. He sits like in front of a desk. He wears glasses. He's one of
Yeah.
the super OGs.
He's like a legit player
oh,
and
yeah.
just plays like old school synths.
He's. You know what I think of him? I say, this is when Slash picks up the Daisy Rock guitar and he crushes you, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, dang.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's
Music
so
Track
good.
JP. I would probably say my favorite. It didn't start out that way, but now at this point, for just, I really love Alex Ball's channel. It's become like a fun ass place where he, I'm a costume guy, so I like to get into costumes and stuff. So he plays his character sometimes in the videos and whatnot. So I love Alex Ball. Probably my favorite of all. Like who do you even count as a synthfluencer?
Yeah, I'm like, I watch, like, I think like my
Jeremy.
favorite YouTuber is Pico's Hank, who's a guy who's like cowboyish kind of guy who chases storms, and it just makes amazingly entertaining videos.
Yeah.
And chases tornadoes, and like, but he puts so much work into it, and he scores it himself with like
That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
fun.
with like, you know, slide guitar and like reverb and stuff, and he like uses like technology. He'll like actually use a GPS location of where he's going in like one little window, and then he'll show like the damage of the storm overlaid over what he's driving past. He'll go back and
That's
drive at the
cool.
same speed to like get the damage the next day and like overlay it, and it's just like, yeah, it's like so much better than any, and you learn so much too. And he's actually now like pretty much embedded in the meteorology community because he discovered like a new type of sprites, which is where lightning hits. And I actually emailed him about something. He had he was he caught this phenomenon where after lightning, for a very brief period of time, there'd be these green streaks in the sky every now and then
Really?
after like a really bad tornadic thunderstorm at night or something. And he was trying to figure out why, and I was like emailing him, and I was like, I think that like the lightning is giving too much of a charge to the Earth, and then the Earth is sort of returning some of that charge, but since there's so much nitrogen in the air and oxygen in the air that it's turning green and red sometimes, and that would make like because
That's why YouTube is amazing. Like I know that it's like sometimes I watch YouTube and I say like, this is actually the greatest thing ever because people have found a way to niche everything.
Yeah.
And I almost can't watch like normal TV because I'm just like, that's not exactly what I would want. But if you watch YouTube, there's so many variants that you're like, you can really get onto someone who's like,
Yeah.
right
I
on your
will-
lane
Yeah, I'll
or whatever.
definitely say that about anybody who wants to start a channel. Like, just
yeah, we should talk about
do.
that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up after this, which
Yeah.
was like, just do what you want to do because your
Yeah,
audience
yeah.
is waiting for you. I think that's the most important thing. And like, yeah, because I wanted to ask y'all, like, do you guys try to cater to the audience you have, or cater more to being a bit more broad, which is
Hell no,
sketchy
don't
waters,
do that.
right?
Don't
I mean,
do
I
that.
want to go. I'm going to go into science, like, and I'm not like I don't keep that a secret at all. Like I will take any chance I get to move things into science, and so.
Yeah.
Like science is like who? Like Vsauce?
Sure. I mean, I did a thing with I made a sonic weapon for Vsauce.
Okay.
That aired recently. No, but any sort of I'd really like to get into things like existentialism and how physics and philosophy play into the
Cool.
way that we see consciousness.
Yeah.
Things like that is like, and here I'm in a synth store, but like it's weird because every now and then I get an opportunity where the two can actually, like, I did a video on like bats, and things like that, like using a special microphone to detect bat sounds and then use machine learning to figure out what species they are. And then you could actually follow, you're recording at such a high bit rate, they could slow it down and you could actually see how they're catching their prey. And like you could,
That's cool.
And you could see like where the chirps are bouncing off of, and then where they're echolocating their prey in real time, and actually draw out the equation of how their brains work and how they figure it out. And it's pretty amazing. So things like that, like audio actually kind of, it is just a bunch of waves. So it's pretty easy to draw into other things.
Well, there's like a legit striation between our channels here.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky has a very large channel now. I would
Yeah.
say, in all reality, we all can agree that anything above like 5,000 is pretty damn impressive on YouTube in general because it's so
Like
hard.
5,000 subs, you mean?
Yeah, it's like so hard to get really traction when you're beginning or whatnot. So
How many viewers do we have right now, concurrent?
207.
Wow,
Damn, that's a
all
lot.
right,
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
good.
everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hi.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
So like, I would say, since there are 3 different levels, me being the smallest, you being the middle, and Ricky being the largest
so
at this
weird.
point. You're telling me, remember when you had like 100 and I was like a lot?
I remember when I
now-
had 0.
Yeah, I remember. What would you say is the one thing that has like been the most beneficial in like moving you forward to like continue to like put out stuff? Next to
I
you,
would
Ben.
say, just like as cheesy as it is, staying true to yourself. But also, I think one thing that is like super massively important is understanding the psychology of humans online versus in real life. Because like if you really want to let comments and things like get
Oh,
to
yeah.
you totally can. And
We
that
talked
can-
about that last night.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you would literally like let that dictate your channel.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and that's I don't say one of the worst things you can do.
No, you
But-
are letting like the worst actors direct.
Right,
Your,
and it's very much in the same sense of it. Like you have a bad experience, you're more likely to tell 10 people. You have a good experience, you're more likely to tell 3. It's like the negative
Yeah.
is always the loudest online. And not only that, what people say online is very rarely what somebody would actually say in real life.
Oh, yeah.
And my one, I don't care. 2, I find it amazing when somebody's like, "Oh my God, this is stupid," you know, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's all good, man," you know, like I think some things are stupid too, you know.
Yeah.
What made you think this? And then they just like delete the comment,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm
Oh,
like,
weird.
it's definitely a strange activity, but I would say the most important thing is like just know what you want to do and know that you owe nobody anything.
Yeah.
You're literally just doing this for fun.
Yeah,
so
you're
why are you putting so much,
entertaining.
why are you putting pressure on yourself? Hypothetically, of course. Why are you putting pressure on yourself to please someone else that you don't know or
Yeah.
don't even, in a sense, care for? So just do whatever you want to do. And I think that alone will get you the audience that actually you should actually care about.
Yeah.
You know.
I noticed that from like the support, like people on my Patreon and like the supporters who are like who are regulars. I noticed that if I ask like, what do you want to see? Do you want to see this, or this? They'll be like, whatever you want.
Exactly.
Like, and
it's
that
always
I like
those
a
people
lot.
who
Yeah.
are like, whatever you do is great.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like you
like-
do you. That's why we watch, and it's like that makes me feel really good.
That's so
a really
cool.
good,
Yeah,
a
that's
really
super
good
cool.
compliment. Yeah. But yeah,
Just make a Behringer video. That's how to do it.
yeah.
If you wanna
just
grow?
bitch about Behringer.
Just go against the grain, man.
Yeah, so there's I made a video on Infinite Jets. If you search Infinite Jets pedal, the first YouTube video you'll see, even in Google, like the thing you'll see is me shitting on it. And it's kind of like, that was one thing I learned early on. Basically, like I bought an Infinite Jets. I wanted to make a video like Knobs, sort of a parody of Knobs, like,
Okay.
but I love Knobs and like,
Sure.
Yeah.
but like sort of a parody of him, like a super kind of like colory, hipstery, faded out type thing. And in it, I even like tried putting on like super tight jeans and stuff, and like, and it didn't work out too well. So I plug it, so I have this all set up, and it's so funny because I was like recording this in like a linear chronological way, and I plugged my guitar in before turning the pedal on, and I'm like, wait a minute, I lost like 20% of my tone, like literally just from plugging it into this pedal, and then I realized like, okay, the preamps on this thing are there's something wrong. And so I emailed the company. I stopped making the video. I emailed the company. No response. Like, and the only way I could contact them is through like the form on the website.
Sure.
So like no response from the people who made Infinite Jets. Who is, what is that company's name?
Hologram?
Yeah, Hologram. Yeah. And so I end up driving all the way. I'm driving like an hour across town to try out another one in a store to make sure, because like I didn't want to give them a bad rap. Sure. And sure enough, the
Same
thing
thing.
fucking sucked. And so
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not even going to continue reviewing this. I'll play around with some things, but I would never ever buy this pedal because it literally ate 20% from the low and high end of my guitar,
Sure.
which like, that's inexcusable. Like
Yeah.
that's just bad, especially for a $500 pedal. And that video goes up. That at the time, that was my most watched video because Negative just gets a whole lot of,
It just does, yeah.
And sure enough, I got like an email from the company the next day being like, the comments are literally people saying that they were about to buy it and now they're not. And like, we're a tiny company in Knoxville, Tennessee, and like this may destroy us and this is really bad. And I felt like, shit, this is true. Like, they're not lying, but they could have responded to my email in the first place. They said they didn't get it, but like, but I thought about it, and even in my video, I was like, the next thing they put out may fix all these things, and hopefully this video will guide them in a way to do it. And it seems like the Microcosmos pedal that they did,
The microcosm is
or Microcosm,
it's
yeah.
the shit.
Yeah, it seems like their next pedal is like one of the best pedals
It's-
money can buy.
You can't even get that motherfucker. Like,
Yeah, right.
I have one. They were, shout out to Hologram. They sent me a microcosm,
Yeah.
and I was sort of like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
as soon as I got that like thing like locked in, I think I just said like, this is like the greatest pedal.
Yeah.
It's not one thing, but it's like, just you have one, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shit is that thing is a
I
fucking
love that thing.
monster.
So yeah, and when to be fair, like I told them, I was like, if you want me to pull the video, it's gonna look like you asked me to pull the video, like and they were like, yeah, we understand, and but salty, and understandably, this is their baby, this is their project, and like
small company, yeah.
yeah, but they made the microcosm, and I said, yo, I'm gonna buy a microcosm, like right when it first came out. I was like, I'm gonna buy one, and I want to do a video on like how you've redeemed yourself entirely, and they're like, no, we'd rather you just not do a video on us anymore, and I was like. And I understand. That's the thing, is I wasn't like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway. They were like, you could do whatever you want, but we'd rather you not. And I think the lesson there was like, when you have a small boutique company and you're an influencer of any sort, like realize that maybe that negative opinion may actually be like destroying a really
That's
good
a
thing.
very interesting point of view. I never really thought of that because
And you that's probably not something you'd expect to hear out of my mouth either, but like it,
I thought that opinion was going to go in a completely
yeah,
different-
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I thought you were going to say like focus on negative reviews. They
Yeah.
sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
No, and from that point forward, that was like my last super bad. That was the last video where I just shat on something, or I was like really bad, unless it was like a political issue, something like more political, like Behringer and like ethical things. But like, that was the last time I did that, because I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to put all this time into making a video, I want somebody to walk away being inspired,
Yeah.
learning something, or wanting to get something cool to inspire them. Because like otherwise, why would I prioritize a video where I just say something sucks?
Yeah.
Like, that's what Rick Beato does with music. He just listens to pop music and talks about how much it sucks, and that's, nobody learns from that. They learn when he talks about the chord changes and why those are so good.
I never, I
Yeah.
never really thought of it that way. Like when.
I can't even imagine what the chat says at this point, but
Talk about the synthesizers.
Well, apparently there's one store that still has holograms, but this one guy's afraid to say the store name because he doesn't want them to like buy out everything.
Oh, it's not Perfect Circuit.
But they do.
Everyone looks back.
look back at the pedals. Yeah, if they got one, I'll pick it up. I ain't doing a video on it though.
They were talking about earlier releasing your own music. Should you have a bunch of people listen to it before you release it and get their opinions? Or
Oh, that's
should you
choppy
just
waters.
do
No.
what you want?
Do what you want.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a beautiful
the reality is if you're just starting out, people will care about your music if they like it. And,
Yeah.
if they don't like it, then they won't care about your music, and there's no forcing that. And if you want people to lie to you about it, then that's fine too. But
Yeah,
that's,
dude,
that's
you
not
gotta
gonna-
know whose opinion matters, I guess, in a way, or like, I don't know, find people that inspire you. I'd say is very important, but also understand that everyone's perspective is completely different.
Yeah.
I remember with my VCF stuff that is like super slammed and super squashed. I destroyed that music purposely, and then I went to like send it to some person to get it mastered, and they're like, "Can you take all these compressors off of this? Like, it sounds like garbage."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, I just want you to bring it to level. Like, this is money to me. This is exactly what I was going
Yeah.
for." But to him, it was like the worst thing he ever heard. And I was like, "It's all good."
A,
You know?
a good metaphor that we sort of talked about this. I talked about this with some people over dinner last night, over at a company on the other side of town. But I made music. I released albums and made a living from it for a long time. And I started writing music for ads, and I wrote music for like one ad that was like the most seen ad in history at the time, and it won all these awards. And then that agency blew up, and then I became like the rock star of ads for a little while. And so I was making like a really good living doing that. and I was grinding at that pretty hard, and that's when I feel like for anybody who's like a fan of my music, that's when like Arboreal was made, and like these things that were like really personal and weird and like went way off the grid, and like my genre, or Soundtrack to a Vacant Life, even like these things are just where like my music went from like this like always IDM, always sort of a certain genre, and then just fucking chaos, and like that's when like then people started listening to my music a lot more, and that's when like it really picked up. And it was because I was making money from a service, from like doing a service for, writing music for ads or something. And then I was still making money from music, but I didn't care how much I made, and I didn't care if it sold a lot or if it didn't. And I just didn't give a fuck. And I just loved making music. And so like people put so much emphasis on making a living from making music, but there's actually a problem with that, because then you're so worried about what people think, because you're dependent on it financially. And like having money coming from here frees you to be an artist in a weird way. And it's like 100%. I owe so much of my career to doing ad work, because I could actually be uber creative on the other side, because I just didn't give a fuck if anybody liked it or not.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I feel like that's in a way like how my channel's kind of grown a bit, is I just think innovation, because I was like, I got a day job, I can do whatever the hell I want on the channel.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, I don't care if you like it or not. Yep. I'm just doing this because I want to do it, And luckily enough, some people wanted to watch it, so I was like, "Go."
I think that's probably the biggest thing. That's the biggest difference between certain channels when you watch them. You can definitely. I'm not saying you can tell the channels that need to make things work out when it comes to like certain partnerships or whatnot, but. If you're only taking things that you want, you're not really going to go very far on YouTube monetarily. You have to decide that it is. Loopop does well on YouTube because he takes everything. He has and he accepts everything. I would never imagine that Loopop is sitting there looking at things saying, I love this, I want to have this. It's just, I need this thing so that I can show the people how to use it in video form. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
But he does all that for free. I'm pretty sure he either has a day job or is like. Because I talked to him once at Moogfest, and he's just like.
Yeah, he makes a living from his. I don't want to say too.
Now he does.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about him, but I do know. I mean, he suffers from something that we probably all suffer from, where people are like, "Wow, you have all this gear, it's amazing," and we're like, "Yeah, I wish we could make music more with it, but instead we're too busy just reviewing it and moving on, and like never turning it on again." Which is a real terrible tragedy that we deal with, guys. You don't know. No, I mean it sounds like a really like stupid thing to say, but I mean it's true. It's like I have people always ask me like, oh, you like the Polybrute so much, do you use it on music? And it's like, well, I'm not writing nearly as much music because I'm reviewing gear all the time, or doing whatever.
Yeah, I don't think there's tons of. I would say there's people like. Jeremy definitely puts out a lot of music for his kind of video release schedule. It's kind of insane to me. I don't know how the hell he does that. Like,
yeah, but I also like do like freelance research stuff and like other stuff like that. So it also. But are there more questions?
Not really questions. They're saying
statements.
That Ricky's the only one left to drop the F-bomb, but it might be like hearing Mr. Rogers cuss.
Why?
They want to hear him cuss.
I like how people are like counting the cusses, like.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not on my channel, so I say what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Demonetize this.
I was just the other night or last night. Yeah, we were talking about like I bleep out my fucks now in actual videos,
for sure.
just because, and it's not because of YouTube. Like I haven't had any sort of issue with demonetization, but a couple people have just been like, "Hey, like I have, I'm a music teacher, and I want to show this to my kids." And,
my child's in the background.
Yeah, right. No, and they're like, I literally want to show this to the kids in my music class, but like,
I'm worried.
you're saying fuck throughout the entire thing, and it's like, all right, so now I bleep it out. But.
I'll go hell. That's as far as I go in a video.
Yeah.
HE double hockey sticks.
My nieces.
Question for Ricky, if it makes it. Is there a 404SX resource that would get me a better understanding of the machine?
A what?
A 404X.
Oh, 404SX?
Yeah.
Video?
Like resource, yeah.
SP vids.
Who?
SP vids.
God has spoken again.
He fucking rips.
Yeah, what he said. I honestly can't.
SP vids.
Oh yeah, SP vids. Yeah, those are really really good. They'll teach you a lot. Yeah, SP vids for sure. Yeah, that's a good one.
Where would we be without Wes?
I would. Yeah, seriously. Here's a question for both of you.
Where is he, by the way?
In the office.
Oh, good. Okay.
If y'all were in an elevator with somebody who's like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, and you're like, oh, I'm 2 floors away, and they're like, well, wait, what should I focus on the most? Like the elevator pitch of what you should do to start your YouTube channel. Of course, get the obvious out the way, make a channel, buy a camera, get a tripod.
Yeah.
Like more of the, I guess
None of us are the same, right? You have 3 literally different. There's probably someone in the chat who would say, Ricky's my favorite, Ben's my favorite, I'm their favorite. They would just, and they truly believe that. They're talking, they got a notification on, or they're like waiting for the video to come out when you say it. But at the same time, we're in music and musician performance technology, right? You know, as creators.
Yeah.
But I would never say that you don't cover things even on your channel that you cover, and I don't cover things that you or you and
same chapter, different pages.
Yeah, just literally.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think that like one thing that I learned really quick is that like this is a very full like the pro audio, even something as simple as like synths and pro audio, it's already a full menu, but like our personalities are what dig us out, and just being ourselves and like using our own sense of humor, our own personas.
Audio pills.
Yeah,
it's a very good example of
or Andrew is Andrew Wong is an amazing example of that, because he figured out that there is, you know, he was like, well, you know what, there's probably a shortage of or he noticed that there's a shortage of like audio personalities for kids, essentially. Not when I don't mean like 6-year-olds, but for like 13-year-olds and stuff like that. And those are like that's a very important demographic. That's music education, and so he's popping time crystals or whatever, and that's what brings that in, and they're learning about music that way, and that's like bravo. That's an amazing. Yeah. He's finding a niche that like wasn't there yet, and your personality is what finds that niche, and that's very much his personality.
It's weird to say be yourself, because it sounds awfully like like throwaway, but in a weird way. I met you at like NAMM 2017 or something. Like I met you before your channel was like really popping off or whatever, and my channel was still like earlier or whatever, but like the person Ricky was in person, obviously it's not the same on a video, right? It's just not the same. You're recording yourself. But in a weird way, it's like, I like you as a person, and therefore in a video, your personality and the things that I like are like amplified, and then they're recorded, and that's what makes it unique. The same with Ben, right? Like you guys are who you are, yet I know in a video, it's just a more entertaining version of a person. And it's like, when I think about people, what they want to be, I'm just always thinking like, it's only personalities at this point.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's not going to be covered by somebody already. Yeah. You're not going to be able to buy a thing, make a video, and it's going to be like, oh, how'd you get that? Because you're not in the game, so someone's already going to get it first. So don't think you can just get stuff.
I've thought about like if I had a video every week, and I would never do this, but if I had a video every week, I thought about if I just went over the news stories of the week and then commented on them, or like wrote like a paragraph for each one, like if it would end up doing better than doing audio and science stuff. Like if it was just 100% personality and like, not that I'm like all that interesting or anything, but I think that people just sometimes crave that type of thing.
Sanjay C.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say to touch on Steven's note too, like the be yourself thing, but not only that, just like trust yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow your ideas through.
Yeah,
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
It might be tough, but have a bit of confidence in your ideas, because
somebody
will find it interesting.
It's also like, do you want it? There's something I always say with music. It's like, people are so caught up in like, oh, how many people are going to listen to my album? How do I get on Spotify? What if they don't listen to it? It's like, do you like making music? Like, because if you like making music, then like these aren't problems because you're making music. But like, if you don't like making music, then or if you're more interested in attention and success, then you should become an investment banker because you'll make way more money.
Do you like editing videos? That's if you're talking about what do I do? I want to start a music YouTube channel. Do you like to edit videos?
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
It's not for
Then
you
just
because
do one takes.
you cannot
streams or
think
something,
that this is something it's not. I don't make when it comes to the music and the videos, the shooting and the editing is literally like 70% of the time. 20% is like I'm having fun making music, and the other 10% is like bullshit analytics. Fill out a description,
Metadata.
a thumbnail. Think of something catchy.
Yeah.
And then boom, it's up. But you have to be a video it's a video platform. If you want to make music that's going like on repeat, put that on Spotify. Like YouTube is a video platform. Like I hate to say that.
Hey, do we still have coupons that work here, Les? Ben 10. Do you guys have coupons?
We can use Ben 10.
Wait,
we can use all of
there's
our
coupons for our names?
Use Ben 10 to get.
If I
1
just
minute? I don't think it automatically ends or anything.
if I just say a
T
number,
minus.
Yeah, I know. You're like, if we have time, I was like, why? What's happening? Well, I could check my
Take 5.
battery.
wait, Ben 10 is a legit code?
Yeah, you get 10% off.
I believe I have Noir 10 loaded in the system for the future.
Is that Noir 90? You said?
Yeah.
Noir 90 free shipping.
Guys, use Noir 90 for you just have to pay 90% of the cost.
It's better than Ben 10. Yeah, Ben, BENN 10, you get 10%
Damn, I
off.
need Noir 90.
You get 10% off anything.
BENN
Anything
10?
around here, yeah.
Sweet. Do you get like kickback?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm going to use that code. I've been looking.
Yeah, I mean, I might. I don't know. I do get kickback? Oh, I get kickback. I'll go to Red Lobster.
I've been looking at
I wonder if anybody bought an H9000 after my video. Did anybody buy an H9000 from my video?
Not yet.
Come on.
You guys sell H9000? Wow.
When are you guys gonna jam together?
We brought that up, but time.
It's up to Bryce. You don't know how much time it is.
Yeah. It's like how often do they want to stay open, or how long do they want to stay open tonight?
They're all in overtime now.
Yeah.
We're salary.
Oh, really?
No, you're saying if your salary, you're bad. That's the point. Yeah. If you're hourly, we'd be like, yeah, we're gonna jam till 5 a.m. Overtime.
I'm surprised. There's so many people like actually like sticking around. That's
I
pretty-
really
that's pretty
wanted to
impressive.
do. I really want to do something. I mean, obviously, COVID like messed everything up. But I was talking about pre-COVID. I was talking about like this idea of like renting out a big mansion in like the North Georgia mountains that like would be rented out normally to like a small wedding or something, and they're not that expensive. And having creators come out and make music, and having a couple camera people hired, and the bill would be footed by companies that, and not saying it would be extravagant in any way, but the bill would be footed by companies that wanted to have their gear in there.
Yeah.
And it would almost be like a real world, but only for a week, and it would be mostly music making. It wouldn't be fighting, it would be music making. And I think that would actually be a very cool, like, 4-episode thing. Or even if it was like just one, but whatever it was, I think that would actually be a really cool idea that would be pretty economical.
We gotta have. I mean, I did the Germany thing, right? And that was something similar. TSR.
Do you know what you need to do? Set up challenges
Ooh, yeah.
at this. Like,
You have to get the
almost
right
like
people.
reality TV show. Be like, all right, pick a number. You guys are in teams. You have 10
Ooh.
minutes to make a song.
Yeah.
Audience votes.
You gotta have
Winner
Simon,
gets a brand new Saturn.
a Saturn,
Okay, Kia.
a brand new. You
Come
guys
on,
get
dude,
a.
we're not rolling in dough here.
You guys get
Yeah.
a brand new Saturn.
It's a brand new-
2002 Saturn.
Get a brand new, real simulated Woodsides 2002 Kia.
It's an old
Lincoln.
Transmission's like about to go out like the next.
Where we at time?
One guy said like a synth swingers weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Dude, I
mean,
cranked the swing up on my MPCs.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Oh God, what have I done?
think.
Alright, we're at 10:02.
Uh-oh.
Here's a good question. How do you guys get over writer's block?
Start a new song. That's all I do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many ways to do it. Muscle through it, don't muscle through it. Take a break, don't take a break. Listen to music and also don't listen to music.
Oh, okay. I know I want to, Ben, answer the question, but then I have an actual legit thing that I just thought.
I have an obnoxious answer to the question.
Okay.
It's that like I have trouble sleeping and shit, and it's because my brain is just always like fucking pounding with nonsensical ideas, and so I just don't have writer's block. I feel like I always want to create something as like a nervous impulse or something. I'm like neurotically creative.
Really?
Not saying that it always turns out good. Most of the time it's garbage, but like I'm just always wanting to do something, and so I feel like I would love to have writer's block because I would go to the beach and just lay in the sun. And be
Do you
like,
think that's blood or habitual?
Probably. I mean, honestly, probably like mental illness. It's probably like something that's more related to like, you know, some sort of like anxiety or like neurosis or something like that. I would imagine. It's just when I was a kid, I played the guitar. I mean, I grew up in like a really rough area. I grew up in South Chicago. When I was a kid, like I just played the guitar, and I wasn't like my family wasn't like, you know, Ben, you're gonna go to guitar lessons when you do this. It was like, no, when you're done with your homework, you can play the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would like play the guitar, and sometimes I would like want to play the guitar longer than I was, you know, supposed to be playing the guitar. So I would like play it in the closet after I went to bed so nobody could hear me, you know, things like that. And so it was like my escape was that way. And so if I ever feel like, yeah, you know, if I'm feeling anxious, like pulling out the iPad and like making a little patch with something on the iPad, then okay,
cool.
that makes it go away. I don't know. I sound completely insane at this point, but
Not at all.
yeah. Sorry, I don't have writer's block. But you could have my curse. I have relax at the beach block. That's
I was gonna ask, how much do you listen to music versus like other types of media? Like, you know, I'll be honest, I actually don't listen to a lot of music unless I'm in a music kick for some reason.
yeah.
And I ask like other musicians sometimes, and they're like, oh, I don't really listen to music that much. So I'm like, do you guys listen to like?
I feel like it's all just like a pendulum. There's waves where I listen to a ton and don't make a lot, and then there's waves where I listen to no music and I make a lot of music.
Okay.
It's rare that they're kind of in sync with one another, where I'm like listening to a ton of music and making a ton of music, because I feel like it's kind of burnt.
I treat it a lot of times. I recognize that I get influenced by the music I listen to, and so a lot of times I treat it like, you know, ingredients in a recipe or something.
Yeah, you have to. It's like, is this good for my diet? You know?
And like, and I don't know if Travis, if Machine Drum's still watching this, but like, I love his music. I've loved his music from like when I first started touring with him in like 2002 or whenever the hell it was. I loved it then, and I love it even more now. He strikes all the right chords, but I can't make music anything like his guy. I can't make fun music. I'm just not a fun music writer.
It's hard.
And he is. And so if I listen to a bunch of Machine Drum, then I want to make music that sounds kind of Machine Drummy, and I fail. And so I have to be like, I have to limit the Machine Drum to like when I'm at the gym, you know, or like when I'm running or something.
That kind of gets like, I don't want to say depressing, but like kind of like puts you down a bit, right? When you're like, you hear this cool track and you're like, oh, let me go make it. And then you make the same chill thing that you always make.
And I could be like, and it's funny because I could be like, I could identify all the elements of what's going on. And
I know you're hearing it say, I know exactly
it's
what
like I have
do.
the algorithm of how the track works, but I don't have Travis's mojo, so I can't make it work.
Music is so like emotional, so it's like sometimes when people are like, I want to put out the music, and then that's where their goal is, I'm just like isn't the fun that when I think back sometimes about the music I've made like over time for the YouTube library or just for other projects in the past, I'm always like, the best part was making it. Like
the process
because it takes so much to fully dive into being like, all of my emotions are invested in creating for a period of time. And then when you leave that, like for me, I can't really, if I say, oh, I'm gonna make a 10-song EP or whatever I'm gonna make, it takes me like 3 weeks just to get into the mood to make something cohesive. It just doesn't work like that. Like I'll create so much crap for 3 weeks that's just garbage, and then I'm in there, and then I'm in. It's rough, honestly. So yeah, putting stuff out's like, that's like an afterthought, honestly.
And a question that we're getting a lot is, when is this going to become a show?
Oh man.
When everybody moves to Georgia, or we could all move to North Dakota and be miserable together. Just
That'd be cool.
Kanye's there.
in
No,
North
he's in
Dakota.
Montana. He's in Montana, right?
He's in Atlanta.
Atlanta now?
He's living in the.
Oh, Wyoming. You're thinking Wyoming.
Oh, he's
yeah.
Wyoming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's living in the Atlanta
That's
United Center. What is it? No.
How much does that cost?
He just showed up and never left.
Yeah, he like.
This man is just this Yeezy shoes.
I love him. I went to high school with him.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like friends with him or anything, but I think he was 2 years ahead of me. Yeah. I remember him. Like, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, shall we wrap it?
Yeah. I want to thank both y'all for coming, of course. That's amazing for you to join me here. I wish that this could be a weekly show. It'd be a lot.
That would be
Streaming
so.
would be
People would
amazing.
love that if it could
Yeah.
actually be legit.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Except for Michaela. She'd probably be like, I'm kind of sick of setting up these lights and shouting questions from the internet.
To you,
Yeah.
it's great. It's
I wanna-
amazing.
All these lights and everything, this isn't how, I mean, Perfect Circuit's a beautiful store, but it doesn't look colorful like this. And there's lights all over the place, and Michaela just took over and did an amazing job. So, yeah, thank her. And thank you to Perfect Circuit for
Hell
allowing this
yeah.
entire thing to happen. Ben 10 gets you 10% off anything. How long does that last for?
The end of the month.
Till the end of the month. Ben 10. So if you want to O control, you get it for $40 less. Anyway, and then of course, I want to thank my patrons. They're the reason I do start my stream. When I started my Patreon, I was like, and for anybody who's not my patron, you can either join my patrons or you could thank them, because this was initially just going to be a thing for Patreon, but they're all like, no, information should be free. We've listened to you complain about that long enough to be on your side, and so they have decided for these streams to just be open and free to everybody, and that's amazing, and I love it, and I love them. And I love you. So, yeah. Thanks. Any final words? Running for president or anything? Like,
Thank you.
yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks,
I think you have to hit end stream to, yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
Bye.